Spooky. Hello, everybody. Minus Cam. So Cam, I believe, is believing that it was supposed to be a different time. So if you didn't know it, Cam and I live in two very different time zones. And if we don't coordinate immediately before the show starts, we're off. We're off to the races. So I expect Cam to sign on in a little bit. But we will launch here because I, for one time in my life, set up this live stream in advance last night. So I will be damned if we don't start on time. But thank you for joining. Thank you for joining, and everyone minus Cam. We decided we're still playing with the time because, like I said, different time frames. This is 10 a.m. for me. This is around the time where I'm drinking my coffee. My true sadness coffee. It's delicious. And I'm, peeling back the gunk from my eyeballs. I'm lucky enough that I get to work from home most days. So usually I'm up at 9 and then, alive to the world by 10. But, we do what we can do. So anyways, today on the Cringe-Fluencers show, we're going to be talking about Gary Vee's new innovative idea. Amazing. I know. I just ate a cake pop. Sorry, I'm talking to Rachel. Rachel Diamond, hey. Rachel says, these cookies in the background are making me hungry. Yes, but are you willing to go to war for those cookies? Find out later in the show. So we're going to be talking about Gary Vee's new innovative idea about work life and working, because he's always got the most amazing ideas, including caring about trust fund children the most. Crumbl Cookies is going to war. Whose side are you on? Okay. And then late breaking news, Kanye West, aka, I guess his new name is Ye. I'm trying to be politically correct and use someone's official name if they've changed it. So Ye is doubling down on his crazy remarks, in my opinion, anti-Semitic remarks, not an opinion, that's a fact of what he's saying. And he's doubling down again. He was spotted by the paparazzi. There's a video of it, and he just goes off into the wilderness. But more interestingly, I think Ye has started a GoFundMe. Yeah, I'm not lying. A GoFundMe account to make him a billionaire again. So if you are looking for a worthy cause to invest in and to, you want to put volunteer, you want to put philanthropist on your bio on Instagram, Kanye's got a mission for you. So we'll take a look at that. So, but first, let's start with Gary Vee. Let's start there. How about that? And we'll talk about his new idea and sort of why I think it's sort of dumb. Let's see. Okay. If you don't know who Gary Vee is a business guru, influencer. He got started. His dad owned a liquor store in New Jersey, which was a multi-million-dollar business, which I think is insane that was even true. A brick and mortar store back in like the early 2000s. And then, early 2000s, late 90s. And then he started a YouTube channel in like 2006. So right when YouTube launched, called Wine Library TV, where he would give his kooky and down-to-earth opinion about wines to drive traffic to his dad's liquor store business, which he then took online and started selling wine via the internet, which was super, wow. No one thought you could do that back then, which is true. That was not the culture back then. So then he grew his dad's business from $3 million-ish to like $60 million within a fairly short period of time using the internet. And now he goes around to different parts of the country and he inspires the youth mostly with his business, advice and expertise. And he also, with the money made, the profits made from his dad's business, invested in companies like Uber, Facebook, other companies that failed that he doesn't talk about, Twitter and Snapchat. So I think, and so that's where he started. And now, fast forward, he's got a big company. He's got an office space down in, I think it's called like the Navy Yard or the Yards or something in New York City. And he's got like 800 employees. And he's got all these different segments of business. I've heard really bad things about working there because the pay is low and you have to bust your ass. And if you read the Glassdoor reviews, they're not good about actually working for him, for his company. And he's got a bunch of different segments. He's got like wine. He's got like a commercial like agency. He's got NFTs. He's got a business where it's like all people. Okay, Cam's coming. He's got a business where he's making cartoons. Like it's all weird to me. So anyways. We're going to watch this one specifically. It's titled Thinking About Opening My Office to the Public. Okay. So, if Cam can get on in the next second, let's see. She said, what's the time? I thought it was 3 p.m. my time. I'm like, it's 10 a.m. now. I don't know. I think maybe they had the time change already and we haven't. That also screws me up when like one segment of the world changes their time and the other one doesn't. Okay, anyways, I'm trying to stall a little bit if you couldn't tell. Here's me stalling. Good analysis, Kia. Thank you. Thank you so much. She's coming. Okay, we'll watch it. We'll watch it again if we have to. So he's gonna open up his office. She's like, can we do it at 11? I'm already live. Okay, let's do it. Thinking about opening my office to the public.
Thought about making VaynerMedia's 800 New York City employees work on a first floor that was open to the public. That's why I tested 137 that way.
Wow.
Everybody will immediately react with what isn't good about it, but I think you can mitigate that, and then you get all the things that are good about it. Serendipity, culture, interest, business development, learnings, friendships, awareness. I mean, that could be national news. I thought about making VaynerMedia.
I don't know what the heck the point of going to force your employees to work on the first floor with people just walking in and out all day to tour the facility, which was like, I think his office is like people on computers. Like, it's not like they're, doing anything that's like going to be, wow. Ooh, like, are you building Legos in there? Like, I think it's pretty standard office creation, content creation type of activities. I don't understand the point. I'm not sure what the angle is. And like, oh, it's national news for one day. Yeah, if he's opening it to the public for 1 week as a gimmick, okay, I get that. But opening it up to random New York tourists to walk around, I think you're asking for possibly people just going, oh, this is a mess. I'm going to take this, computer. I'm going to take this random tchotchke that someone left on their desk. For what purpose other than like a gimmicky, ooh, this is like different. And this is what his description of this clip is. And guess who liked it? Lewis Howes. Love him. Always think of new ideas. Never stop pushing yourself on ideas. That may seem weird. Pushing your own boundaries on ideas creates little nuggets that may lead to an idea that is more achievable or practical. When you're riffing new concepts, your brain is creating new avenues of innovation. Thoughts? I mean, yeah, okay, sure. But I'm not sure this is the one. I'm not sure this is the key indicator of success, is if, oh, did we open the business to random strangers? If not, no success. And again, like he's like, awareness of what? What do you like? Who can participate in your company? Like, to spend money with Gary Vee, I guess you can buy an NFT. That's like the new consumer facing thing you can do. But before that, you had to have a company and have like multi-millions of dollars to make a like he used to say, oh, I make Super Bowl ads for companies. Like that's what his company did. Okay. So not everyone walking in on the street is going to be like, hey, you know, my company needs a Super Bowl ad. We have a budget of 10 million. I'm glad I just was happening to walk by. Now it's a little bit different because he's less B2B, business to business. He's more B2C mixed, business to consumer. And so now you could like invest, you know, like I said, in his NFTs and whatever as a normal person. But again, I think this idea is stupid. And then, okay, so the one also thing I was going to say, he talked about like, oh, the experiment we did at 1:37 p.m. I don't know what that is. So I wanted to investigate further. And he said, we tested it with 1:37 p.m. They commented and said, we worked out of a public cafe in the West Village for 4 months. Ask me anything. And it's like, and then people asked questions and he didn't respond. They didn't respond. To be fair, it was 11 hours ago and 2 hours ago. But it's like working at a cafe, that's one thing. Why don't you just have your employees be remote and they'll let them work from anywhere? And then they'll probably meet people serendipitously. But forcing your employees to go in person to the first floor while people walk around, that just seems like stupid to me. So let's watch it again. I'm going to hear about the part about 1:37.
There's 800 New York City employees work on a first floor that was open to the public. That's why I tested 1:37 that way.
Okay, so 1:37, those are his characters. So like I said, he has NFTs. He has this like thing called V Friends, and he's trying to make, he's like, this is my Marvel universe, which I think is sort of like, I don't know. I hate to say cringe when someone's trying to be authentic and, you know, passionate, but it's sort of cringe. I mean, come on, like, this is your Disney characters. Like Disney has developed characters over like a lifetime and has lots and lots and lots of story built into everything that they do, for the sole purpose of creating characters. And there's movies that flopped with Disney that didn't work. So he, you know, Gary has created these like 26 random animals that have like, you know, character traits attached to them. Like, I don't know what these are, but it would probably be forgiving flamingo, passionate pigeon. I'm trying to think of a positive one for like a mouse. Multitasking mouse. And I don't know. It's just like, it's like, is it for children or is it for adults or who is this for? I have no idea. And like the characters, they do little cartoons, but it's like super, I'm a flamingo and I'm going to make sure that you know that you should brush your teeth. Like it's very, you know, not cool in my opinion. So 1:37 for the curious, popular culture, music, gaming, collectibles, NFT, sports, style, news, stories every day. Okay, so I guess it's a news website. Tom Bilyeu likes it or follows it. So interesting. I don't know what the significance of 1:37 is. Let's see. I guess it doesn't say. I guess we'll never know. It's like a boy, looks like, I shouldn't say boys. Oh, here, about. Looks like a men's focused news website. 1:37 is a digital media brand built around 3 words, for the curious. We create content at the intersection of popular culture, style, music, gaming, collectibles, and sports. So that's a huge intersection. That is a multi-highway intersection. Pop culture, style, music, gaming, collectibles, and sports with a keen eye towards the future of Web3 and the myriad of ways in which it will impact all of these spaces. 1:37 is owned by Gary Vee and Gary Media Group, a portfolio of media properties focused on making positivity louder. This ethos courses through all of our work across our site, numerous social media accounts, and more. We are a media brand built by the curious, for the curious. Whether you're dipping into the world of NFTs, looking for a fledgling designer to follow, or an athlete to keep your eyes on, this is the right place. I don't know what this is about, I guess. He owns it. But why are you in a cafe? And I don't know. Whatever. Who cares? Okay, so that's that. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think that's funny. Like, go to Target. You can see employees working in real time. Go to a grocery store. Do you have to go to an office? No. The answer is no. So that's what Gary Vee's up to. Now let's talk about the cookie wars. Okay, Cam is like in class right now, so she's on her way, so she's not gonna make it to the Gary Vee story. Sorry, Cam. I really did want your thoughts on this, but it's okay. If you're from the United States, you may know about Crumbl Cookies. That's the cookie store that's behind me right here. So let's see. They have a lot of followers on YouTube, subs. They have 1 million subscribers, which I find to be high. Their actual videos are not that super viewed. It's different. But basically the concept here is that you can only get a certain type of cookies each week. So they don't have every single thing every single week. They have like weekly flavors, and they're very decadent and they're very fancy. They're bigger. They come in like this kind of like Tiffany's-esque box. It's branded very chicly, and you order like on an iPad. So for example, okay, this is the weekly flavor. Let me pause this or mute it. So this is the weekly flavors for this week, 2 days ago. Okay, so if you're wanting Crumbl Cookies, this is what you can expect this week. And they do this every week. So you have to sort of be, up on their website looking to see if like, oh, I like this cookie this week or not. I've had them. I'm a huge sweets person, and I had it once, and I didn't like them, to be honest. But I'm very picky in particular about what sweets I'm going to spend time eating, because I am like a snob when it comes to it. So it doesn't mean that it's bad. I just like, I wasn't like, oh my God, I liked the branding much more than I liked the cookie. Anyways, so the reason I bring them up is because they make cookies, right? They didn't invent the wheel here. They didn't invent the idea of snack goods or desserts. But they kind of seem like they want to believe that. And basically, they've sent cease and desist letters to much smaller cookie companies across the country that are making cookies and using similar logo. This is their logo with the chef's thing. And they're saying, stop, you're copying us. Now, I find this concept interesting because it really deals with capitalism and what is a unique idea. And when you get so big, there's like 300 stores across the country for Crumble, and like these other stores are like there's one. Like, what are you really showing other than that you have power and you have money to go and threaten these smaller bakeries? But then again, we'll watch the news report about it. One of the logos I thought was fairly kind of suspiciously close to their logo. So I want to get everyone's opinion. So let me pull up the video. Cookie War Crumble. And of course, if you're familiar with MLMs and a lot of like businesses somehow all start in Utah. Just saying, this is from a Utah business based there. Whatever's going on in Utah, the mountain water, the snow glaciers, the salts in the lake, they breed business there, I will say. Okay, so this is from Fox 13 in Utah, I believe. It's 102 degrees wherever this is located at the time of this story, which is insane. Just like to point that out. Okay, here we go.
It is a cookie fight as Utah's Crumbl Cookies is suing 2 other Utah cookie companies. Now with each company speaking out, Fox 13 News reporter Sarah Murphy spoke to them.
I'm ready.
It's a sweet entrance that greets you,
Hi, welcome to Crumble.
followed by a sweet smile
Good choices.
when you walk through the doors to pick up a sweet treat at Crumble.
Okay, your total is gonna be $8.28.
But behind that sweetness, it might be a bit sticky.
We did not expect it. You know, we are aware of the existence of Crumble. Our attitude with Crave is to kind of keep our nose down, focus on our business.
We received, you know, a letter essentially with several different accusations that we felt weren't accurate. With that being said, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and Crumble certainly is able to have their own opinion, but we were definitely surprised.
He's talking about the lawsuit Crumble filed against Dirty Dough and Crave Cookies. Crumble claims infringement, saying both cookie stores are riding the coattails of the valuable goodwill, reputation, and brand identity associated with Crumble.
In the lawsuit, Crumble claims that both companies copied their packaging.
Okay, let's start there. How many options do you have for packaging? First of all, Crumble's at the top. It's a long rectangle. The one in the middle looks like a plastic container, which would have nothing to do with Crumble. And the bottom one looks like a blue box. Now, okay, what am I supposed to do? Put it in an oval, like Tupperware? Like, that's what I think. It's a little ridiculous. Also, this news report is making me laugh because this is exactly what I was doing. Not like at this level, but like local news. This was my dream. This was my dream, to stand out in front of a cookie shop and go, "These boxes are too similar," says the judge. It's called an active stand-up, and they're dumb in today's day. Maybe back in 1985 they were like very engaging. Now I feel bad for people who have to, and it's not the reporter's fault. It's like the news industry is like forcing these people to do this. They say this is what the people want. It's like, no, they don't. But okay. Anyways, okay. So just based on this, I'm not buying it that this is so egregious. Like, oh my God, they stole the box.
But both Crave and Dirty Dough say that that's not the case.
We couldn't be any more different. Crumble's, you know, they're famous for their pink box. They're famous for the rectangular box. Ours is black with a metallic gold and it's square. So not a whole lot of confusion there, at least from our perception.
But one Crumble worker says he's not going to let that roll.
When I read the comments and it's like big bad corporate America beating down on the little guy who is just trying to get by, I mean, that's me. I am the little guy, right? I have a few Crumble franchise locations, but we were one of the first ones in Utah. You have a whole bunch of entrepreneurs that are out of business or don't have a chance.
As for the future of the case, Dirty
What? I am a little guy. I only own several Crumble franchises. Okay, I'm confused. Is it corporate? So it's the franchisee that's suing? I thought it was the corporation. Okay, I didn't really even realize it was a franchise. So that's sort of interesting, even more so. So one franchisee of a company can sue another one, like a regular location? That's very interesting.
Dough and Crave workers say they're going to keep working, and the publicity is the icing on the cake.
The way we feel is that cookies have been around for a long, long time. Cookies aren't something that you can really patent or trademark, and so we feel like we've done nothing wrong at all, and so we're just going to keep going and keep growing the business the best way we can.
Sarah Murphy, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Okay, so let's take a look a little bit more deeply at what these brands actually look like. So let's look at their Instagram first. So we'll do Crumbl Cookie. Okay, we already sort of looked at those, and I also want to watch another the national news story because they talk about the logos more specifically, which I think is important because that was the one I was like, okay, the boxes, no, I'm not on board. The cookie recipes, no, I'm not on board with that because like every company in the world can make a chocolate chip cookie, and you're like, you're stealing from me. That's so stupid. But the logo on the one, not the dough one, but the other one, I was like, he might have a little bit of a point there, but not even. I wouldn't take someone to court over it. Like, I think it's very obvious that it's not the same company. Let me see. ABC News. Oh, okay. And then also, the dough one, this is like a great story. I'm sorry. This is like an amazing, like, capitalism story, because the dough company, the one that makes the cookies that is accused, they started making these like ads showing like that they were so good because they're being sued because they're so good. So they're taking their, you know, lawsuit and making it into an ad campaign. I don't know. I like following stuff like this. Okay, here's the national news take on it, and they're going to talk about the logos.
Battle heating up.
And it's also like, you ever watch Bruce Almighty with, oh my God, Jim Carrey, where he's like, he's in Buffalo and he's doing the news report. He's like, and that's the way the cookie crumbles. Like, there's so many puns available with cookies, and like, one business owner has a chip on his shoulder. Like, this is like the perfect news story to write. Okay, here we go.
Battle heating up in a cookie war. Little guys fighting back against a popular chain. ABC's Kenneth Moten is here with more on the case that's getting new attention on social media. Kenneth, good morning.
Good morning, Whit. Full disclosure, I'm a cookie guy, so I needed to research. We picked up this box of cookies from Crumble, which is well known. More than 300 stores in more than 30 states. The company claims its packaging, recipes, and a lot more are being copied, which has all led to some social media trolling, creative commercials, and a pretty big lawsuit.
Somebody's playing dirty.
This morning, the cookie wars heating up. Executives speaking out over a piping hot legal battle all over baked goods.
Let's get ready to crumble!
Billion-dollar Utah-based Crumbl Cookies suing smaller competitors Dirty Dough and Crave. Crumble accusing the startups of trademark infringement, claiming they copied Crumble's cookie designs, packaging, even logos. Both companies fiercely denying the claim.
Okay, both companies fiercely denying the claim. I think Dirty Dough is off the hook. I don't know what they are claiming here about, you know, maybe that there's a chunk out of the cookie, but I think it's different enough. It's a box, it's blue. I'm not gonna look at Dirty Dough and go, wait, is this Crumbl Cookie? Is this Crumble? I thought this was called Crumble. Like, there's no confusion. It's not like, that's sort of, I think, where the lawsuit, you know, has to go in order to be prosecuted. Like, there has to be customer confusion. I think Dirty Dough's off the hook. Crave now, it's a little bit more hairy. Now, just because of the logo, like there's two cookies with a chunk taken out of it. The cookie looks similar to the one that's in the Crumble in the hat of the chef who's making the cookies. Now they're going to show it. Now the colors are completely different. So, okay, are customers going to be confused like black versus pink? I don't know. I doubt it, but that one was like, okay, Crave might be a little bit more, you know, something you could say, but I think both, like, I think it's all for attention. This doesn't, I don't know.
Our initial reaction to receiving this lawsuit was primarily just shock and frustration.
The taste, the look, the feel of the cookie is as different as it's possible to get when you're talking about cookies.
The not-so-sweet fight earlier this year going public.
This is a cease and desist order. You're going to have to shut down the whole operation.
From ads appearing to poke fun at the cookie giant to billboards. Cookies so good, we're being sued.
Our colors are black and gold. Their colors are pink and black. Our logo is two overlapping cookies with a bite taken out of it. Their logo is a baker wearing a hat with...
Okay, here's the comparison. Theirs is a baker with a hat with a cookie taken out of it. Now, again, I'm not going to look at these two logos and go, what? That's not the same logo? Obviously, I can tell they're different logos, so I think that there's no real court case here. But you could argue, like, well, they took, you know, they sent the Crumble to the designer and said, can you make just a cookie and put two of them? But again, like, who cares? It's a freaking cookie company. Like, it's cookies. How many options do you have? Make a cookie? Like, what am I going to put a slice of cake and go, but we're cookies? I don't know. Anyways, I think there's no real, if anything, it's good for the companies because they all got publicity from this, but it's still annoying. It's an annoying thing for a company to threaten, you know, legal action. And yeah, it doesn't make me want to go to Crumble. I didn't want to go before. I definitely don't want to go now.
The bite taken out of the hat.
In August, a more serious allegation. Crumbl claiming Dirty Dough was plain dirty and stole dozens of recipes, training videos, and trade secrets.
It's a bad look for them. We're the first ones to stand up and say, like, no, this isn't okay. Like, you can't just sue people without merit. So then they keep making up other claims like stolen documents.
Lawsuits and all, this Virginia Crumbl store is staying busy. Their fans as loyal as ever.
Crumble or nothing.
Crumbl telling ABC News all brands have the right and responsibility to protect their intellectual property.
The way the law looks at these things is, okay, two things may look alike, but we want to know if customers are confused. That's the ultimately question on the trademark trade dress side of things.
No.
One sweet spot in this bitter battle, the smaller companies say business is booming. As this lawsuit makes its way through the legal process, Dirty Dough says sales have doubled, Crave's sales up 50%. Both say that more locations have been opened since this lawsuit has been filed. Cookie side note, guys, Janae used to leave these big, delicious cookies from a New York bakery on my desk in New York.
She has one in her
Oh, look who it is. Wow. In HD quality.
Yes, indeed.
Dang.
What do we think?
I like it. It looks good. You're like in a film set. You're in widescreen. I like it. Welcome. Okay, let's go back for a second. We'll take a second break on cookies, and we'll start the. We'll get you in full shot. Hi, Cam. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Sorry about the confusion.
A very, very quick walk from the city center.
I told everyone, I said, we don't have the time zone thing down yet, but one day we will at some point.
Yes. And that day we shall celebrate.
Yeah, we will celebrate at some point. We're experimenting. We're loose and goosey over here. We're trying to figure out the best time for everybody.
It's just very confusing because we're both trying to figure out which time we should go live. And then I got used to the Romanian time zone. And then I'm now just like, I thought this was like 7 p.m. And now it's like 2 p.m. So I'm just like, oh, I forgot. My bad anyway.
That's okay.
You've been very professional about this. And I just...
Oh, you're fine.
I can't figure it out for some reason.
I have nowhere to go most days, so that's why I have the freedom to like jump on the computer whenever. So the fact that you're like juggling classes and social activities, that means you have more to think about. So that's probably why.
Yeah. Juggling, it's the right word.
Yeah. We didn't miss much. You only missed a little bit of a Gary Vee story, sort of a nothing story. But I think this is a good one for you to comment on, and maybe we can find another like small, short news report about it. So you're in Europe, so they don't have Crumbl Cookies there, do they?
Oh, we do, of course.
You have Crumbl Cookies, like the brand?
Well, no, I don't know about the brand.
Okay, no. You do have physical cookies in Scotland. Do you have crumbs there? Do you have nooks and crannies where you are?
No, crumbs are the best. Cookie crumbs are just amazing.
Yeah. So, okay, the ones behind me, that's an example. Basically, the company is from Utah, okay? Just like a side note, just thought it'd be interesting to add in. And they are, there's multiple locations across the country. Every week they have different flavors. They're not cheap. It's sort of like, fancy, elegant dessert stuff. Mm-hmm. So, and they're big, they're corporate. They're $1 billion company, right? Which I thought is pretty surprising actually, but I guess it makes sense. Like 300 locations, you would hope that they're making pretty good money.
Yeah.
So basically the company Crumbl has sued two much smaller cookie companies also in Utah and for stealing recipes. I'm like, how many recipes for cookies can there possibly be? For copyright infringement of their logo and their box. So they're just like suing them to try to, or at least cease and desisting them to, actually they did file a lawsuit. So they are trying to sue them to get them to stop. And so we are just watching a news article about it. So let's watch one more because we watched the local one and we watched a national one, but I think they're interesting to give us the full picture. And there's lots of puns about cookies.
In the lawsuit?
No, unfortunately not.
Because I would love to see an entertained judge for once.
Yeah. I'm sure he's like, this is stupid. Okay, this one's only 2 minutes. This is on CNBC. Okay, here we go. So now Cam will be up to speed after this. And they all use the same verbiage as I did, cookie wars. This is what the story has been branded.
There's a war brewing in Utah, not over politics or COVID. This battle now is all about cookies, flour, sugar, and sprinkles. The controversy has been going on for months, but now there's some serious dough flying around. CNBC's Andrea Day has that story.
Crumbl Cookies is suing Crave Cookies and Dirty Dough.
Utah's cookie war getting a lot of attention on social media.
Cookies really worth suing over?
It all started back in May when Crumbl Cookies hit Dirty Dough and Crave with lawsuits, claiming in part that the two brands' packaging, decor, and presentation is confusingly similar to Crumble's.
Our branding is black and gold, theirs is pink and black. Crumble's logo is a chef hat, or a chef wearing a hat. Ours is two overlapping cookies. I don't really see any confusion at all. I think most people can tell just fine that we don't look anything alike.
We sat down with the founders of Dirty Dough and Crave Cookies, both telling CNBC they think the claims are half-baked.
Just imagine pizza companies doing this to each other, right? Like sending pictures of a pepperoni pizza, putting them in a lawsuit and say, look, your pepperoni pizza looks mighty similar to mine.
Crumbl co-founders Jason
seriously?
McGowan and Sawyer Hemsley sat down with CNBC last year to chat about their booming business.
I have to pinch myself every day because we talk about sprinkles over the conference table.
But when we reached out about the lawsuit, they declined our request for an interview, instead sending this statement.
They only want to talk when it's good. Boo.
Of course. Yeah, they don't think that all publicity is good publicity.
Not for them. The other two companies, they said they've expanded and they've grown like 50% in business because of the lawsuit, because they're getting all this media attention.
Well, yeah, they would. They would grow. Yeah, these guys not so much probably.
Yeah, I want to investigate them. Not like in a serious way, but like in a. I bet they're cringe CEOs. Like, just I have a hunch based on this reaction in the court system that they're probably lame.
There is no business without any shady stuff behind it, is there? Not under capitalism, at least.
Yeah. What are you trying to hide? Whenever the law gets involved, I'm like.
And oftentimes it doesn't even get to lawsuits. Like, so it's kind of extreme when it does, because usually they settle behind, you get a cease and desist, and then, the communication starts, whatever. So it does take, like, it has to be pretty intense to get to a lawsuit, I think.
Yeah, that's what I think too. And to sue two separate companies, interesting tactic, not just one. Like, because there's two. There's Dirty Dough and there's Crave. I think Crave is closer, and I think you could. I don't think there's a real lawsuit, level argument here. But if you were like looking like, okay, did they take inspiration from Crumbl? Maybe. The other one, I don't think is even close. So I don't know. But okay, someone says maybe their attorney said not to comment. Yeah, sure, probably. They always say that. No, lawyers will always say, don't say anything. Always.
Yeah, well, yeah, nothing is better than... I don't know if... Oh, gosh, maybe we'll not talk about this now, but like that challenge podcast has been sent to cease and desist, and he's been talking. He's been saying all sorts of things that he shouldn't be saying. So I think, it's not a bad idea to take the lawyer's advice and not comment.
Yeah. Or just do whatever you want and then hope that it all works out. That's also a strategy.
Yeah.
I guess when you have $1 billion on the line, things are different. When you have $20, it's like, whatever.
$20, gosh. Yeah, that's a good lawsuit.
I can just say what I want. I'll keep my freedom for $20. Okay. We're almost done.
By email. Crumbl has taken legal action against two companies for trade dress and trademark infringement, one of which has stolen Crumbl recipes and trade secrets.
Did you steal Crumble's cookie recipes?
No, just look at our cookie. Again, you can't get a more different product. You can taste it.
Okay, so let's just look for a second. They say no. I mean, there's only so many cookies you can make. I mean, okay, they have a Fruity Pebbles cookie, it looks like. Crumble has a Fruity Pebbles cookie sometimes. But the rest, I mean, that's like, what other options can you have?
It's cookies.
It's freaking cookies.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels a bit... Like, I feel like they're going to have to do the whole ridiculous, like, bring in food experts to taste it and just, you know, write down the differences as part of the lawsuit. This would be fun to, like, actually follow.
Break down. I know.
If they do it in, like, a court, you know, like the Amber Heard, Johnny Depp
Oh my
type
God.
court.
Live stream the
I would love
cookie
that.
lawsuit. I'm down. I'm
Yes,
into that.
please.
I need a deep dive that's like not serious. I mean, it could be serious.
Yeah.
They could lose their business. The other men could lose their business. The other, you know, owners. That's serious, but not like, you know.
Yes,
not-
but I guess it's when you talk about cookies, and it feels like such a joyful thing that you can take it seriously.
Yeah, like can you
They
imagine
are.
like Papa John like suing Pizza Hut and going,
Domino's.
Yeah, Domino's went, you know what?
You stole it. I invented pizza. And
Yeah.
the Italians be like, hey, what the
I thought, isn't pizza like an American thing? Is that right? Or is that a myth?
Is it American? It does it not come from Italy?
I don't know. I thought it was like a American take on Italy or something. I don't know. We should look into that at some point.
No, the Italians have come up with it. I think America was not even born when
pizzas
Italy
were-
had this under control, like about 2,000 years before America was even born. I mean, it would be fun if America sues Italy.
Yeah, like stop trying to make it Italian. We're actually from New York. I wonder when
Yeah.
cookies were invented. We should find out and get them to sue all cookie makers.
I feel like with these things, it's kind of hard to tell because, like, food existed before like literature. So
Yeah.
I think people ate before they could write and read.
And I wonder if yes, agreed. And can you copyright a recipe? I don't think you can. Like, you can't copyright certain things.
You probably can, but the thing is, I just think that, do we know for sure that they stole it? Because, like, I mean,
no,
just I don't know. Like, you probably can copyright it, but then, like, if this person puts vanilla instead of like rum, then that's it. No longer the same recipe.
Yeah. And like, this is different, obviously, but like people sued Fortnite for taking their dances, and it was ruled that choreography cannot be copyrighted or trademarked.
Well, TikTok would be in serious.
Yeah. But that's where it came from, because they were using TikTok dances in Fortnite, and they weren't paying like the people who made the dance or whatever created it, and they sued and said like, this is my idea, and they said no, you can't copyright like movement like that. So there is certain limits, at least in America, about like what you can and cannot do. So I wonder if like, yeah, if you change one ingredient, there's no possible way you can say, oh no, you can't. You're stole.
Yeah.
I think there's no legal
I feel
argument.
like this is a battle of egos, because like there's probably like thousands of cookie companies that are making the same exact recipes.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, I'm confused by it, but I'm invested
There's
deeply.
probably stuff like in the background that would be interesting to find out, like who screwed who over, why is there a lawsuit, why didn't they settle before getting to a lawsuit?
Yeah, I agree. There's something fishy in this cookie.
Yep.
Okay. God.
Product. You can taste it, and it's so much different.
Look how absurd this is.
Diane Finguera Ducharme is a practicing trademark attorney in New York City with no connection to this case.
Crumble came up with a great idea, a whole business model, which are rotating cookies each week, delivering them warm in a box that fits the cookies snugly. The problem for Crumble is that an idea is not protected by intellectual property law.
So could the case go to a jury?
it could be dismissed by showing a judge that as a matter of...
Okay, let me minimize ourselves. Here's what we're discussing here. Crumble, Crave, Dirty Dough. They all look different to me. And yes, okay, there's a rectangle box I see in Dirty Dough, but like, can you copyright the box? No, you can't.
I mean,
the box shape?
If you could, that is the most bizarre use of copyright that I've ever heard of. It's like, your product cannot be inserted into a box like mine.
Yeah, even if the colors and everything are totally different. It's like, okay.
I think this is complete BS.
Yeah, I agree.
Law, these marks don't look alike. And if the marks don't look alike, that's where the cookie crumbles.
And both cookie makers being sued tell me that social media around the cookie wars has been great for business. Crave sales jumped 50% and Dirty Dough sales doubled since being sued. Back to
Good.
you.
I'm glad.
Back to you. Yeah.
That's the most BS lawsuit on the planet.
Yeah. And the Dirty Dough company, the one that I think is different, more different even than the other one, Crave, they created like an ad campaign around being sued, and they made these ads, and we can maybe watch one of them because they're sort of funny about like what's going on, and they made it sort of like a, you know, a tongue-in-cheek type thing. So this is the one that also has a rectangular box.
No, seriously. It's as if not all boxes on the planet are rectangular.
How dare you? You must use cubes or spheres, okay, for your cookies, and they must be crumbled in the box. Okay, here's their take.
There are two things that I believe in as an American. One, the free market. Two, suing the pants off of anyone else who makes cookies. Sit down. Don Chair.
On it.
Somebody's playing dirty. Don Mitchell, why don't you tell them what's going on?
Dirty Dough has the audacity to sell cookies that are obviously much better than our cookies.
Not better. Not better. They're not better.
They're not much better. They're a little bit better.
They're not better.
They're terrible. They're terrible.
They're terrible. See, Don gets it. The rest of you get it. Write it down. Write this down. Where's my attorney?
I'm right here. I've always been right here. Fact of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, that I have found 4 points of egress with which to sue the pants off of Dirty Dough as an organization. We have everything we need to absolutely destroy Dirty Dough. Number one.
They're using sprinkles.
That's a lawsuit.
Look at this. You see those sprinkles on that thing? Huh?
That's a lawsuit. Lawsuit! Number two.
They're putting their cookies in rectangular boxes.
And while they might argue that all boxes are rectangular in nature, they are not like our rectangular boxes. Number three.
They have a rotating menu?
There are people out there that are saying that we're not the first ones to do that, that maybe we stole the idea from Chip, and for that, I say we change the subject.
Candace, listen, can we get 2 dozen? Make that 10 dozen chocolate chip cookies from Dirty Dough. Just for research purposes, yeah. See you at the family reunion.
And number four.
Using these charming, whimsical designs.
Whimsical cookie theme design! Whimsy is copyrighted by Big Cookie Company. Am I correct, ladies and gentlemen?
We're the first ones to have come up with all of this stuff.
You were the genius, boss. You were the genius.
Okay, that was good. That was good the first time.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are the Dallas Cowboys of cookies. We are America's cookie, all right? We're the big farmer of cookie. We are the Chips Ahoy of cookie. We are too big to fail.
So who else can we sue?
My grandma makes cookies. And she's loaded. She's loaded!
Mr. Attorney. Can we do this?
I want to sue my own mother because we share the same last name. I'm pretty sure we can sue over sprinkles.
I love it. Do your worst. By that I mean your best.
Done.
Let's get him!
Nice. This is amazing.
Now, I see the comments, and I sort of have to ask as well. Do you think this is all a hoax? The whole thing?
No.
Like they're all in cahoots. All three companies are like secretly benefiting.
Oh.
Like they're like, let's make a viral ad campaign. We'll sue these two little companies and then we'll get on the news.
No, I don't think so. I think that would be kind of a risky move.
Yes, I agree. I totally agree. I think it's risky, but
I think this is real, unfortunately. I think that's just how the cookie crumbles, I'm afraid.
Yep. Sometimes you got a chip on your shoulder. You're baking in soda. I don't know.
I am so sad I can't see the chat anymore.
You can't?
Not anymore. I didn't see it last time either.
Oh. Can you see it now? I changed.
Oh.
Did it pop up? Okay, good.
Yep.
It was just a little thing I had to click. Okay. So yeah, so there you go. That's what's going on with cookies.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now, the weird thing is, and maybe they're calling it Cookie Gate. The weird thing is, and I don't know if this is their real website, but Dirty Dough, who just made that like very, high value, high price commercial, or, at least like it was done well. They only have 138 subs on YouTube.
Oh my God.
How is that possible? They have 30,000, 240,000, 51,000. They have a lot of views and then no subs.
That's weird.
Something's fishy in this cookie again.
Yeah. Bring the puns coming. I love them. I just wonder, like, that's bizarre.
Yeah, and they have like a whole thing about, I mean, these are very pricey, I would imagine, just from a video production perspective, like commercials. They are really putting in the investment here.
But sometimes, and I've worked for, big companies. I've done like commercials like that for them. And usually they don't care about YouTube. So usually what they would do is they would make them for television or for like whatever they have, like presentations, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we also did some very high value things, and like they would spend some good money. And even like sometimes they would put them on Vimeo on private, or like they wouldn't even bother
promote
with
them
YouTube.
at all.
So I don't think that's their target audience, because usually they get more bang for their buck if they put them on television, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I don't know. I think these older these like big corporations, sometimes they haven't discovered YouTube, I don't think, as much.
What is YouTube? I've only discovered cookies this week. The cookies exist, and I've stolen the recipe.
I feel like very few, like, I don't know. There's so many corporations out there, but very few have discovered they can sponsor like YouTubers and things like that. It's still kind of a new niche thing.
That's true. I know. When you're in it, you're like, oh, everyone must know about influencer marketing. But when you talk to a business owner, they're like, we're gonna send we're gonna post flyers around town. You're like, oh Lord. Like, okay.
Yeah, they're like, we're gonna do a billboard, like, and you're like, no dude, trust me, like this is good. Like, I don't know what you're talking about, leave me alone.
No.
Yeah, because you have to realize most of the people in these boardrooms, they're like old white men.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we overestimate everyone's like knowledge on all things marketing.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to research real quick who the cool, crazy cookie cousins are from Crumbl Cookies. The crazy cousins from Crumbl Cookies. Say that 5 times fast. Okay, it all started with one big dream, 2 crazy cousins, and the perfect combination of flour, sugar, and chocolate chips. They revealed their recipe in their
Oh my God. Go make the cookie, everybody, and send them pictures. Make them exactly like theirs.
Yeah.
Let's see if they sue us too.
Yes. Crumble was co-founded by Jason McGowan, CEO, and Sawyer Hemsley. Sorry, Sawyer Hemsley just sounds like an interesting name. Someone that owns a cookie company sounds like Sawyer Hemsley. They both teamed up and dove headfirst into the world of baking. After thousands of dollars in wasted dough, recipes that did not live up to their expectations, and cookies that were just plain embarrassing to them today. Okay. The two cousins decided to take their perfect cookie quest to the people. What? They gathered feedback and tested recipes, a practice that is still part of the Crumble process until they created the world's best chocolate chip cookie.
Okay.
So they stole the recipes from people first, and now they're trademarking it?
Oh, God. I just can't believe it. I hate it when corporations try to be so relatable. Like, you're just a corporation. Can you just stop being like, oh, it's just me and my cousin? Like, it's not.
Yeah.
It's
I know.
you and your cousin
yeah.
and $1 billion. Like, it's not just you and your cousin.
Yeah.
You
Most
have
likely
factories.
there's something else going on. It's so funny. I like this comment Emily says, like, who wants to sub to a cookie channel? Crumbl Cookies has 1 million subs. That's why it's...
Maybe they're like Natasha Graziano. Who knows?
True.
Just like
1
all
view,
bots.
1 million subs. Accurate. Okay, they started the first store in Logan, Utah in 2017, so they're pretty new. Also, where Sawyer was attending Utah State University. For them, it was important that Crumbl customers see their cookies being mixed, balled, baked, and dressed in real time. Equally as important were the high-quality ingredients used in each unique batch. At first, Crumbl only served fresh milk chip cookies for takeout and delivery, but other services slowly began being offered, such as curbside pickup, catering, nationwide shipping. Okay, they have a weekly rotating menu and their famous pink box. That's their big claim to fame.
Yes, that's the copyrighted box.
Yeah,
right
the copyrighted pink and oblong box. They even say it's a uniquely shaped box. Unique oblong shaped box is the first of its
I've
kind.
Never seen a rectangular box in my life.
Have you seen a
this is the
pasta
first
box?
ever.
I guess it's different, but it's the same shape.
Yeah, it's different color. They copyrighted the color pink.
This is a different pink than anyone's seen before. Crumble around the nation. Since opening its doors 3 years ago, Crumble has expanded to over 300 bakeries and 30... Oh my God. I mean, this was written 3 years ago. Okay, so this is a little bit older. But since opening its doors, Crumble has expanded over 300 bakeries in 36 states nationwide, making it the fastest growing cookie company in the nation. No matter how big the brand becomes, Crumble is a family-owned business and is proud to contribute to the livelihood of its thousands of local franchise partners, managers, and bakers. With each new bakery, Crumble will strive harder than ever to fulfill its mission of bringing friends and family together over a box of the best cookies in the world. Their mission, come on, give me a break. We're going to bring families back. We're going to repair families, broken families, through our cookies. Okay. Interesting. I'm curious to know more about Jason McGowan and Sawyer Hems. I bet there's Reddit threads about them. I just have a feeling. I just have a little suspicion.
Yeah, for sure.
Here's his Instagram. Oh, he's only got 16,000. Okay, he's founder of Crumbl Cookies, self-taught baker and entrepreneur, creative lifestyle design, dog dad.
Okay. So cute. So family friendly.
Yeah.
They
He's
just
gotten that
want the
much.
best for the world. And the world, look how they're repaying them by stealing their just recipe and box and everything.
Apparently he has a restored 6-bedroom boutique hotel and special events venue as well in Warwick, New York.
Obviously, like, they're loaded.
Yeah. Well, now for sure.
And I think before, because in order to start, imagine, to start a company like that, the kind of money you need
to grow so much,
to manufacture that many cookies for an entire country. Like, you can't do that on a string budget.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to research more. We're going to have Crumbl Cookie War, World War Cookie Battle 2 at some point in the future. Because I'm interested.
We should see what happens. Because like I think it would be fun to see like judges' reactions and stuff.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't think it's gonna get to it. Oops. Oh, of course, I can never read any
Oh
articles
my God, I
anymore.
hate this so much. I feel like this should be, we should make a live stream about this. Because every single newspaper now, like, especially like, or not especially, but just the ones that, are a bit more reputable. Because at
Mhm.
this point, I don't trust any newspapers. But like, I can't read anything for free anymore. And I have to go to tabloids. And I'm just so sick. Because like, tabloids are so untrustworthy that I'm like, really? Like,
I know.
Insider, you're gonna let me go to the Sun? Like, it's just stupid.
It's like, just let me read one. Like, let me read one first. And then, I don't know.
Your money.
This is a bad model because, like, I'm not going to spend, I already buy New York Times. I just got the Washington Post yesterday. Like, those are two that I feel like, okay, like, I don't mind giving money to. But the rest, it's like, do I need, if I want to read a story in Kansas, I have to buy now a yearly annual subscription to their Kansas newspaper? Like, this can't be the only way to make money. It can't be.
It's pretty bad though. Like I'm very disappointed. But I think it's great for us. It's great for YouTubers because
True.
now we can bring the news to people for free. And
Yes.
sure, there will be ads, but like we gotta eat too.
Yeah, we're gonna bring you the tabloid the tabloid articles for free. We'll just read them to you.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
not paying to read Insider. Sorry, I can't do it. But it looks like there's some podcasts and stuff about like their start and all that. Of course, they have a TikTok account. It says they've garnered all the viral attention on their own. Interesting. Okay, well, we'll have to we'll do more research and we'll come back with more. But in the meantime, we got to talk about Ye, your favorite topic.
Oh God, what's he done now?
Guess what you think he's done now.
I don't even know this guy. He's so unpredictable. Like, what has he done?
He started a GoFundMe to become a billionaire again.
No.
Yes.
Please tell me nobody's donated to that.
I don't know. I'm trying to find the actual link because there's all these fake ones that have been like, I also want $1 billion. So I'm trying to find like the real legit one. But of course, I can't read it because, again, Rolling Stone is like, you must pay now. You've clicked on one article.
Oh, God.
So I'm trying to find a link that works. But before we get to that, he doubled down. This is from 2 days ago. He was spotted. Now, I just want to comment to you about the insanity of paparazzi and like just the scene that's unfolding in this video is so chaotic that it makes me uncomfortable. But he's he's walking out of the store. Of course, there's like people following him at every turn and they're starting to ask him questions and he just kind of goes again, like just off the rails. So he's apologizing, but he's not apologizing at the same time. So I think we should watch this.
Yeah.
Okay, ready? Like, look how insane this is.
Let's go, baby. I'll see you guys there.
Oh no, they got it back.
Gianna, Gracie, what's this way?
Like, can you imagine, like, okay, you're that person and that this is like the chaos that follows you every single place you go? Like, how could you not be affected by that mentally? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I hate that I don't know people who live around. So for me, I'm like, oh my God, like, please.
Yeah.
Just no more.
No privacy and just people just looking at you like you're at the zoo. Like, that's how it feels. Like, this is like everyone
Taking
just
pictures.
Yeah.
It feels so invasive. It does feel, like I hated every single paparazzi video I've ever seen. Like, I hate how they're in your face and they're just, well, not in my face, but They're
Yeah.
like in people's face, like asking the most intimate questions. Like even the last time when we watched Ned and his wife get into a car, where the story about
Mhm.
the car sex was happening. Even that, I was just like, gosh, how dare you go to someone and get in their face while they're like out in the middle of the day and ask them about their relationship? Like,
Yeah.
what the hell?
Yeah, it's a very invasive. I cannot believe there's no laws about it yet. And there probably won't be, because like if you're in public, that's sort of the law. Like if you're on a public street, you can get your picture taken. People who are like, you're not allowed to film me. That's not true. You're allowed to film anyone, at least in the United States. You're allowed to film anyone as long as you're on public property and they're on public property. Like you.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
this is just the beginning though of something. And I've said this a million times, like, but like TV and stuff, they're kind of new industries and we've not caught up to things.
Yeah.
But I feel like this will change because sure, it's public, but then when you post it on your private like newspaper, on your private tablet, it's no longer the streets. It's like, so I feel like there's gonna be some sort of changes in that, but I don't know when exactly that will happen. I think it will only happen if something bad happens.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing is, or the interesting thing is, like the paparazzi have sued celebrities who take the photo of themselves and post it on their Instagram. They sue them for copyright infringement because it's the photographer who owns the rights to whatever they take a photo of. And there was like this thing a while back. It was like this debate because this monkey in a tree in like the jungle, they put like a GoPro out or something, and the monkey is holding the like lens, and like the monkey owns the rights now. So they were trying to like I don't know. There was a whole thing about a debate like probably 10 years ago about, who owns the rights. It's like whoever is taking the photo owns everything, even if it's a monkey. It was like very weird.
Wow, we're so developed as a species. Like, look at us. Look at us come up with ideas.
I know. Before we move forward with this horrible scene unfolding in front of us, thank you to Scout Hunter Spaceman. Thank you. They say your VOD on fitness industry abuses was 4 out of 4 stars. Thank you.
No, that's sweet.
That was last night. Thank you.
I missed it.
Oh, well, you could watch the replay. It's a little heavy, so beware.
Let's tune into this ankle.
That's what they do on the fitness bodybuilding stage. But yeah, Dave came in last place, but it's actually more nefarious. I think the whole industry is like pretty gnarly, according to this Washington Post investigation. And I sort of was disappointed that neither Dave nor Heidi made any sort of comments about the expose, which it seems like they would both probably be aware of by now. So that was
I don't think they are the kind of people that are just about to like do everyone a favor.
No, I agree. Yeah. Anyways, we appreciate it. Okay, back to yay.
Yeah.
How you feeling after this week? How you feeling, brother? I feel good. You look great. Thank you very much, sir. You look great, my girl.
Thank you, Kanye.
Do you want to talk about anything, Kanye? I mean, do you think you're being unfairly targeted for the comments that you've been making?
Do you feel like it's unfair?
Yes,
Absolutely.
You know, anti-Semitic statements are never good for anybody, right? It's kind of like being anti-black.
But, it's really interesting. I didn't realize that I could be considered anti-Semitic till I read one of the definitions of anti-Semitism. Look at this.
Okay.
The definition
Well,
says,
he was just stupid.
making mendacious, dehumanizing, demonizing, or stereotypical allegations about Jews as such, or the power of Jews as a collective, such as, especially, but not exclusively. This sounds like let them go by.
Music. Oh my god.
Right, so it says, think about that. Sounds like
I'm doing a press conference. We gotta wait for this music to pass. This is very important.
You guys have to wait because like he struggles with the reading part. It's like I like that he had to take Google out and just be like, look at the definition. I was just stupid. I wasn't malicious. I didn't mean to. I'm so stupid. I thought you were a genius. Yeah.
He's a genius, but he forgot to look up the definition. But he's again then going to say like, "Oh, I understand now," but then in a 1 second later, not understand. So don't get too excited.
Totally understand.
Yeah.
The type wording that's in the contracts, right?
Indeed.
Okay, it says, such as, especially but not exclusively, the myth about a world Jewish conspiracy or of Jews controlling the media, economy, government, or other societal institutions.
But isn't that what you said? That Jews run everything?
Yeah, but that actually is considered to be anti-Semitic.
Right.
So
Yes!
I didn't realize that it was anti-Semitic to say, hey, you know, I have a Jewish attorney, I have a Jewish record label, I have a Jewish contractor, I have a
Do you
Jewish...
regret
your statements?
Or the statements you think you should be walking back? I mean, considering...
What do you mean walking back?
Well, you know, backing up off of them. I mean, the thing is, you've lost a lot of endorsements. People are dropping you. You're getting, you know, vilified. You know, I mean, you might think you're right, but I think, you know, there's a whole world out there that's condemning you for what you said.
Okay, so this right here is a chart of Universal Studios, 20th Century Fox, ABC News, CBS News, Columbia Pictures, Warner Brothers, ESPN Sports, Fox News, Washington Post, Metro Goldwyn Mayer, MTV Music Television, Nickelodeon, USA Today, Wall Street Journal, Comedy Central, NBC Entertainment.
The lady in the back's like, "Who? What's going on?" she just walked into like a nightmare.
Like, wait, I came across another news article. Maybe this reading thing is not a bad idea.
I mean, I don't know what he's talking about. Like, okay, the CEO of the Washington Post is Jeff Bezos. I don't think Jeff Bezos is Jewish. So I don't know what he's reading. Like a list. It's not like, oh, these are all owned by Jews.
So
It's like,
he's just doubling down on it. That's good.
I guess
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't realize I was anti-Semitic, but I am. So
yeah, he's like, no, now I'm confirming that I am. I just didn't know.
Now embracing.
Yeah,
now
no.
I didn't know. When I said I wasn't, I meant I didn't know that I was. But now that I know, yes, I am anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
Here's me being anti-Semitic more.
It's like,
how about that?
If loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. If being anti-Semitic means this, then I guess I am. That's what he's saying, basically.
Google, what else do we have? Disney, ABC Kids and Family, YouTube, Los Angeles Times, Discovery Network, Paramount Pictures, Facebook, Huffington Post, Yahoo, Marvel, Hulu, Cosmopolitan, Time, Touchstone.
What about them?
Associated Press, Pixar, Miramax, HBO, New York Post, LucasArts, MSNBC, DreamWorks Animation. Now, the thing is, I skipped over maybe about 5 of them because it was just unclear on this list. The red are the executives that are Jewish
Jesus
at these companies.
And
do you think they stuck together when they heard what you said? Was that what happened?
Well, what I said is, hey, you know, I've had experiences where it felt like I was being teamed up on, and I didn't realize that term would be considered to be anti-Semitic. So I had a mediation with Adidas today, and I think Adidas felt like because everyone else was ganging up on me that they had the right to just take my designs. And I feel like right now, I feel like that was in Christianity. We don't say karma. We say you reap what you sow. And I feel like this is God humbling me right now because there's two things that are happening. A lot of times when I would say, oh, I'm the richest black man, it would be a defense that I would use for the mental health conversation.
why
to say,
does he
oh, you
always
guys
talk
say,
about being rich? What is this? Like, I don't understand why he in the Piers Morgan interview, he also talked about being rich. Like, nobody asked you about money. We're asking you about being anti-Semitic.
Well,
you can be rich and anti-Semitic, or you can be poor and anti-Semitic and still anti-Semitic. Like, it's not really like a matter of money here.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot of things going on here, but I have a theory unrelated to Ye necessarily, but when people reach a certain amount of income or a certain, oh God, gotta ban the Dave bots, sorry. I think a lot of people, when they reach a certain level of wealth, they leave whatever group they associated with previously, like whether it's a gender group or something they identify with. Like, I am a woman, I am my nationality, I am this race, or whatever they sort of find themselves, whatever group they find themselves. Once you reach a certain point of wealth, you leave whatever you were in before, and now you're a wealthy person, and now you only associate and understand the issues and lifestyle surrounding wealth. And I think this is what happens in his case too. Like, he can no longer understand and grasp what people that he might have associated with before are going through. Now he only understands what's going on with wealthy people.
But like, isn't this like super dumb? Because if this is true, which considering the source, I'm not even gonna attempt to say that this is true. But let's just go with his joke, right? Let's assume all these people, all these companies are indeed run by Jewish people. Isn't it the dumbest thing? You don't understand? Nobody's gonna sponsor you. Nobody's gonna get you to work for them. Like, how dumb is this? What are you doing? Yeah. Like, what is this?
And the thing is, like, who cares? You know, number one, like, okay, that may be true. It's like, okay, his perspective and a lot of anti-Semitic people's perspective is like, well, that means they're all secretly collaborating together to create this network, to create this like whatever society, whatever. It's like, okay, could that be true? No, but that's what they think. The truth probably is that in that culture, they also lift each other up, and it's a very insular culture. So if you're Jewish and you have a business and you're in that, religion, you might get help from a fellow Jewish person because they've gone through so many horrible things through the years that they look out for each other. So is that a horrible thing to do? I don't think so. And it's like, that's another perspective on the whole thing. Like, yeah, that might be true, but maybe that's a indication of like how people can help each other when they want to.
The thing is, I would really, really struggle to believe that this is true, because I'm sorry, but Christianity and Islam are probably the biggest religions in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine that there are more Jewish CEOs than there would be Christian or Muslim. I just don't believe it.
Statistically, yeah, I don't know. I don't think so either.
Considering the vast majority of this planet is Christian / Muslim,
mm-hmm.
I think the Jewish are a minority. Like, even with them being a lot in America, maybe still a vast minority in the world.
The one thing I caught myself and I need to be careful about, it's like I'm very like hesitant to say anything negative about the Jewish people or being in a position of power, but I really don't have a problem saying like, oh my God, this, evangelical Christian CEO did this. And I don't know if that's fair. And I sort of need to figure out where I stand on it, because, if I'm going to sort of like go, oh, this religion, it's so cringy, but then the other one's not. I need to be careful.
I mean, to me, all religions are Christian.
I agree.
So for me,
I totally agree.
I don't believe in any single one of them.
Yeah, I don't adhere to any.
Maybe I believe in that Pastafarian guy. I don't know if you
Mm-hmm.
know that guy who argued in court that he believes like he's a Pastafarian because he likes pasta.
The spaghetti hat thing.
Yeah. I thought that was brilliant. But seriously, like, I mean, I just don't think that it matters at all, like what religion they are. What difference does it make? They still need workers. They still need people to.
Well, I would say it does matter in the sense of I would be critical of someone in a Christian position, like a Dave Ramsey, for example. Dave Ramsey runs a company about financial, success and planning and whatever. But if you're a part of his company, you have to adhere to his like biblical principles. And I have a huge problem with that. But if he was Jewish and he said, oh, like you need to adhere to my Jewish principles, I don't know if I would be saying the same thing. So I just need to be careful when it comes to my feelings about religion and my feelings about religion and politics, and make sure that I'm being fair, because I think I haven't necessarily been. I think, it shouldn't matter. It should be irrelevant in the conversation. And, I just don't want to be.
The thing with that, though, it's what we're discussing there with Dave Ramsey is not the fact that oh, how dare he be a religious Christian who has a company.
Yeah.
What we're discussing is discrimination against his own employees. That's a different discussion. You're not allowed to discriminate based on religion. It's illegal.
Yeah.
So the fact that he does is like he's putting his rules, the rules of his religion, or I don't even think they're the rules of Christianity. They're just Dave Ramsey's rules. He's putting them
rules.
above the law.
Yeah.
And that's just like illegal. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think this is what, because if this the news came out that all these Jewish CEOs are firing people for not being Jewish, or firing people for not adhering to Sabbath, or whatever it is that, something related to being Jewish, then we would discuss that. We would discuss the same thing. We would discuss discrimination in the workplace, not, which is an illegal thing to do. Not the fact that they are Jewish themselves.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think that's important to point out, because I don't want to make it seem like I only will criticize Christians, because then it becomes like, see, we're all, prosecuted by everybody. It should be fair, but I think that is a good distinction. Like, it's not just because you are, adhered to a religion and then that's, open field for criticism. It's if you're using it to control or to break the law or to create a hostile work environment, then I feel like fine to chime in.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a good. Thank you for helping me work through that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm crazy.
Yeah.
But look at this. I made money. But that is not godlike to be showing off. So if it's not godlike, then God will take that, because it's all the church's money, right? So what's happening right now is I'm being humbled. Another thing that's happening is by me being burned to the flesh every single day, it's actually proving what I had to say. So
what?
When I went to the mediation, what I want to say is, like, black people are like, okay, Lex Friedman got you to apologize, Pierce Morgan got you to apologize to the Jews, but you never apologized to us about the George Floyd comment that made us feel bad. Now the thing is, okay,
beware. You haven't seen this clip, right?
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen the clip, but I've seen some things with Candace Owens, and I just...
Beware, this comment that I think he's about to make it right now is like wholly offensive.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He's about to talk about George Floyd. Okay.
Yeah.
And how he feels about it now. Okay.
JFK, they got a lot of documentaries about how it happened. So we can argue about how it happened, which I like the fact that we can do that. But regardless, when I see that video as a black person, it hurts my feelings. And I know that police do attack, and America is generally racist. And I understand that when we got to say Black Lives Matter, that the idea of it made us feel good together as a person, as a people, right? When let me say it so the soundbite is better for you guys. When the idea of Black Lives Matter came out, it made us come together as a people. Now afterwards, yes, there was some things where the money went. There were some things where it was used in order to push us to the Democratic vote. There were people behind him.
Okay, this is not the offensive part, by the way. It hasn't come up yet. This is fine. By the way, this is not the part that I was talking about.
Yeah, maybe. Is this triggering for people? Let's put a trigger warning.
Yeah, I'll put up
well, if that happened, but the general
I'll put up the comment. Thank you, Maddie. Well said.
Thanks, Maddie.
Feeling. So when I said that, and I questioned the death of George Floyd, it hurt my people. It hurt the black people. So I want to apologize to hurting them, because right now God has shown me by what Adidas is doing and by what the media is doing, I know how it feels to have a knee on my neck now.
Oh.
That part.
Oh.
Because Adidas backed out of his multi-million-dollar deal.
Stop.
Now he knows.
Oh my God.
Isn't that
this
horrendous?
Is so, I did not expect this at all. Fucking hell. Shut up, you idiot.
That's the most insensitive comment I think he probably could have made right there.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah, George Floyd's death is the same thing as Adidas backing out and you becoming just a little under $1 billion.
Yeah, as if he doesn't own multi-million dollars of property. He has, even if he went from his net worth of whatever, multi-billion dollars to multi-millions, even if he went from that to zero, he still could get alimony from his ex-wife probably still because they share kids. He could get child support. He has a life no matter what he does that's going to be secure financially from now on.
No matter what happens to his money, he's famous.
Yeah.
So people will always pay him for things. Like
Yeah.
if it's not the left, it's the far right.
Yeah.
Anyways, somebody will pay him to like push their agenda. Ben Shapiro is right on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
No way, because Ben Shapiro is like Jewish. He's not happy. But Ben Shapiro changes his mind like every 5 seconds. So I don't know how he feels anymore.
Yeah. Last thing I heard him say was that, he respects, he doesn't like cancel culture and he respects the right to say whatever you want. I was like, okay. But obviously he doesn't like it, but he says respects the right to say it.
He said something like, I commend you for coming to the conservative side of I don't know. Like Ben is very this is one of the things that I like about, and this is going to sound really bad, but just stay with me for a second. But this is one of the things that I like about Jordan Peterson, because he kind of sticks by what he says. Like you hear him say the same things over and over. Like, he means what he says, regardless of how offensive those things might be.
Yeah.
Ben Shapiro is annoying because he also
flip-flops.
switches positions like all the time. Like 1 minute he's pro Kanye, the next minute he's against, the next minute he's pro again. I got so confused making that video about I don't even know if I made that video actually, but I was watching.
In your head you made it.
I wanted to make that video. But anyway, he's flip-flopping all the time, and with Kanye I noticed it it was very obvious. And I cannot stand it when they do that. Like, just be one way, like I understand.
Mm-hmm.
I
Have
understand
convictions in life.
Peterson, because like he's staying true to his convictions, but like Shapiro is just a bit of a whore.
Like, I'm all about changing your mind as well, but I think that you need to explain, if you have a public persona and a public opinion on something, your followers, listeners, whatever, sort of, I don't know, deserves the right word, but it would be nice to have an explanation of how you got to your next point, just so you can think through the thoughts, so that people who are following you, because there are a lot of people who just follow blindly to celebrities and to pundits, whatever you think, I'll think. So if you change your position, you need to explain, like, okay, this is how I got from A to B, and this is why. I think that would be so helpful. But a lot of times it's just like, I've changed and no one can criticize me for changing. It's like, okay, I think it's good to change sometimes, but I would like to know why and how, so I can understand it logically. But you rarely get that.
Yeah, and the thing is, well, you don't get it, because I think oftentimes what happens is they're just trying to be inflammatory to get like in the news and stuff. And I think this is really why, because frankly, when you think about it, like, they built an audience of people who believe in the same things that they believe and, feel like they can relate. So then suddenly going against that, it's like oftentimes just for inflammatory purposes and just to stay relevant and stuff, which is why sometimes I get so cynical about public figures, like to the point I don't even think of them as human people. Like, even with Kanye, like, I'm sorry, but my last concern is like his bipolar. Like, I wish I could be like, oh, I'm so sorry that he's bipolar and he's going through all these things and he's having episodes, but like, look at what he's saying, and it's making people be actually like violent towards Jewish people. Like, I don't care that he's going through an episode. There's like a real consequence, because he's got real fans, and also, people who are neo-Nazis and stuff will take anything that comes their way. And Kanye has just given them like a whole bunch of things to work with now.
Yeah. And I'm a huge freedom of speech person, probably not even too much. I think it can't be too much, but no one has silenced him. He's literally has a platform. He's back on Twitter. He can go into public and speak to all these media outlets, whether they're reputable or not, whatever. But he has had his, hours and hours and hours of on-camera time in the last few weeks. No one has silenced him whatsoever. The consequences that he faces, I agree with Kat here, is not a silence or a freedom of speech issue. You can't just say anything you want and get every job you've ever applied for. There are consequences for what you say and what you do and how you act. So his freedom of speech has not been impeded whatsoever at all. In my opinion, he has consequences. That's a different conversation that has nothing to do with anyone but him and his, contracts.
Absolutely. I feel like people with the freedom of speech conversation, people don't understand what freedom of speech means is that you can sit there and talk, which is what he's doing. The thing that would happen when your freedom of speech is taken away from you, really, if that was what was happening, that means you're put in prison or you're put in a situation where you are unable to talk to anyone. About what you believe in. You're not able to share your opinions. You're not able. It's
not what's going on.
The freedom of speech does not apply to social media platforms. It's not
People
about
liking
social
you.
media.
Yeah.
It's not about. It's about literally having the freedom to speak in the street, which is what he's doing. It's about having the freedom to speak to whoever he likes and just say whatever he likes. He can say anything he wants about the government. Nobody's going to take his freedom away. He's not going to be, it's literally, nobody's going to take him and put him in prison for it. That's what it means. It's a literal freedom situation. And I feel like every canceled, I don't know, celebrity or something, freedom of speech. And it's like, shut up.
Yeah.
You're
I know.
free. You're walking free on the streets.
It's the same thing when people start to say cancel culture, when someone disagrees with them. It's like, that's not what cancel culture is. Cancel culture is when you have none of your sponsors, he is being canceled right now. I would say Ye is being canceled. But when someone like James Corden goes, oh, I was yelled at a waiter and I'm being canceled and this is the problem with society. It's such a roll my eyes thing. It's like, just because people don't like every move you make. And this is my whole thing about negativity. As soon as someone has a negative thought about you, all of a sudden you're like, oh, cancel culture. People just want to cancel me and dogpile on me. And that becomes your excuse for having, a horrible attitude. And it's so ridiculous. I'm so sick of it at this point. It's like, you're not being canceled. You have, in James Corden's case, you have a show on network television. You cannot say, oh, I've been canceled because someone disagreed with how you acted in public. It's just ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. And I think it's never talked about the opposite thing. It's like, well, but what about your rise to fame? What about all the times when you're given all these money, all these opportunities, all this? You never said, I'm being, I'm being used, I'm being not used, I'm being helped by whatever population. You never said, oh, this is the opposite of freedom of speech. Right? You never said, and you never complained.
Yeah.
You never thanked people. I mean, I'm sure they did, but I don't think they are really grateful. They really do believe that they bring something to,
because they manifested it. They manifested it themselves.
Yeah, but
alone.
Suddenly that you got to a really famous spot and you have billions of dollars, suddenly people criticize you and you're such a victim. That's just poor you, right, left, and center, even when you're being so hateful.
Yeah. I agree. I don't have much sympathy. And for the conversation about bipolar, it's a hard one because, you could speak out of your mind. If you are in an episode and you're not on your medication, you haven't slept, you might say things that do make no sense at all, and you might be more subjected or vulnerable to conspiracy theories, perhaps because that type of culture breeds all of this paranoia and all of those things. So you can understand all of that, and you can sympathize while also criticizing and say this is unacceptable behavior and the consequences that are happening to you are 100% deserved, while at the same time holding space for, Bipolar is a complicated disorder. It's not understood enough as we wish it could be. Hopefully in the future it does become more understood. And, you know, this person does have all of the resources that millions of Americans do not have in helping their mental health issues. So all of that being said, I still feel the way I feel about how he's acting, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyways, that was the most inflammatory comment, but I think we should still play it just to see what else he says.
Yeah, let's keep watching.
In my opinion, I haven't watched this in full, so that was the one that I saw pulled out, and I was like, oh, Lord, okay. And then he's going to talk about a doctor being Jewish or something, so that's also coming up. So again, trigger warning for more anti-Semitic comments.
So I thank you, God, for humbling me and letting me know how it really felt. Because how could the richest black man ever be humbled other than to be made to not be a billionaire in front of everyone off of one comment that actually, if you look at the definition of DEF CON, it means to get extra defense, which obviously I must have needed.
Yeah.
I must have needed that extra defense.
Oh, you did, yeah. I would agree.
Yeah, who are these people that are like, yeah, preach it. Yeah.
Yeah, you've been humbled. Yeah, you've been
That's
humbled.
all. Yeah, George Floyd died so that you could be humbled by Adidas taking away your deal. Like, what?
Like, just, I'm so sad for him. Can you imagine having 1 million less than a billion?
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is. 990,000 million?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like one comment. No, it's the collective idea of your comments the last,
Yeah.
4
And also,
weeks.
at which point does this become really just them doing a poor job of being a public person? Like, because I think this is their job. His job is not, or at least he's made it his job, because he is a rapper. He could be singing, but what he wants to do is actually just commentate on society and whatever, that if that's what you want to do, fine, but this is the job. It comes with pros and cons, and I know it.
Yeah.
I feel like when I get canceled, and I'm gonna be like, oh my god, they took my freedom of speech away. Like, you guys send me this clip.
Yeah. Humble yourself,
Humble
Cam.
me. Humble me.
Oh, that's funny.
You ruined your legacy, Kanye?
How? Well, stop. I'm not worried. I'm just not worried, period. God is alive. God runs the world. God even runs Hollywood. God is alive. And he's using me right now. He chose me for such a time like this to basically for the media to put their knee on my neck, for Adidas to put their knee on my neck. All I ever wanted at Adidas, I left Nike because Nike wouldn't give me a percentage for my shoes when I had the Red October, and my girlfriend at the time was pregnant, and I needed to get some money, because if I was the kid that just had the red shoes, I could have never been a black man wearing a red hat.
This is not prolific. These people who are like, right. I don't know what they're on.
What exactly makes all of these influencers turn to God every time they get canceled? Because Brittany Dawn has done this. Like, the minute you're canceled, suddenly I found Jesus. God does not speak through Adidas. God speaks through me. I'm being humbled. Like, shut up.
Because they don't like the criticism from fellow humans. So now they're like, I don't answer to you. I only answer to God. And now they have a higher, holier than thou,
I'm afraid we are all his God. I'm afraid.
I don't have to listen to what you say about my comments. God said to me last night, I dreamed that I'm perfect. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I am such a flawed person, but no worries. I found Jesus on the toilet floor. I was just in the fetal position.
Good. And it's
in that cement.
People
bathroom.
didn't let me wear a red hat. You were at the White House. What are you talking about? You had
It wasn't a red hat. It was a Trump hat.
Yeah, well, Trump. But you've been in the Oval Office with Trump. That is like supreme access.
How did he? yeah, like what is he going on about? Like
no one said you cannot wear that.
Like,
People are
he
going to
was
be offended
fine.
because
Nobody
Trump-
said that. People just disagree with him.
Yeah. Half the country, more than half the country voted for the other guy in the last election. What do you think? All those people are going to be like, oh, great. Yeah. Sorry.
But nobody stopped him.
No, exactly. No one stopped him. I think that's the confusion. It's like people need to agree with me 1000% on everything or else you're against me. And that's sort of like...
That sounds like small dick syndrome to me.
Yeah. And also it's sort of, if you are into religion, I mean, that's sort of how God, you know, I would imagine the perception of God is like, if you don't agree and believe in God 100% and everything God has ever said in the Bible or whatever, then you're going to hell. So it's almost like these people take on this godly persona and go, if you don't agree with everything I've ever said, then you're a hater and you don't, you know, like me and I can't stand for that. Like, it's very extreme. Like, it's black or white. It's not any realistic perception of any of this stuff.
Yeah, I feel like it's just more of I don't know. To me, whenever this happens and they start to talk about God, and I'm not sure why he goes back and forth between money and God, because like,
yeah,
I have no idea where in the
rulers.
Bible it says that one needs to be a billionaire. But I guess if he can send me the paragraph, I'll change my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But
Actually
like,
says the opposite, but yeah, I guess. I mean, from what I've
he's
heard.
like, it sounds so desperate to me. It sounds like, I have nothing except my money and my faith.
That's more than a lot of people have.
Yeah, like most people don't have any money. So
yeah, just relax.
But it's like, but it's very like, oh, I've been stripped of my, like, what have you, like, you're literally doing everything you want to do. If you want to go back to music, you can.
Create a factory and make a brand of your own shoes. Why do you need Adidas if you're that great?
Crumbl Cookies.
Yeah, just put a couple eggs in a bowl.
Sue the Crumbl Cookie guys.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they're on a rampage now, so maybe they need to be humbled too.
Yeah, if you want to start your own shoe company, no one can stop you. Do it.
Literally, like,
yeah, go for it.
He's free to do whatever he wants.
Yeah,
and he's here like playing victim as if he's been imprisoned or like just like
it's
the
ridiculous.
comparison to George Floyd is like so
horrendous. That's the worst.
Disgusting.
That's come out of it. Hold on 1 second. Thank you. Okay, let's watch more.
Like Nike would have shut me down immediately, right? Right. But because Adidas was a German company, it gave me a little bit more room to be able to express myself and to actually have a political opinion as an American, that I wasn't forced into a political opinion because of the color of my skin. Now let's talk about the red hat, and let's talk about the similarities to the White Lives Matter t-shirt. The thing about the red hat that drove me to a point of exhaustion, which was misdiagnosed by I'm not going to say what race, what people, doctor, and what hospital, and what media went to. We know I can't say that.
Okay.
It was a Jewish doctor that diagnosed me.
That is like, it's so horrible, but it's like such a TikTok sound already. Like, it's just made for TikTok. That, like, I can't say it.
Is it on TikTok? Is it viral?
I bet. I haven't even looked, but I'm sure it is. Like, okay, when you're telling someone you can't tell them the secret, and then 1 second later, you say it. And I'm making a joke. It's not even funny, but like, oh my God.
Maybe he should rebrand as a comedian. Look how good he is at making me laugh. Like, it's just amazing.
I can't say it. I say it.
I'm speechless.
So now his bipolar was misdiagnosed because he's the Jewish doctor. Okay.
Oh,
that's what he's
so
saying.
he's not
It's
bipolar.
insinuating. Thank you. No, he's just rich apparently.
Yeah. Okay. So he's suffering of richness, or what? He's suffering of money.
Mm-hmm. That could be
Too
a
much
disease.
money. Yeah.
Affluenza. I talked about affluenza before, and I said influenza, and everyone was like, "What? Are you talking about the flu?" I'm like, "Oh no, affluenza. Sorry, when you're too rich."
I wish I had that disease.
Yeah, I just have a cold. I'm just cold and lonely and poor. Okay.
of having a disorder that would have had me on medication right now. At a time like this,
you should get on it.
If I was on medication right now, then one pill could have been swapped out and it would be Michael Jackson and Prince all over again. But because I didn't take the misdiagnosis and I didn't take the medication, I'm able to speak to you guys clear of thought and transparently. Now let me talk about the red hat.
I'm sorry. Once again, this is my dad. Like me trying to get my dad to go in the car to go to the hospital. He's like, I'm glad I didn't take my medication. I'm like, Dad, please go in the car. We need to go to the hospital immediately. And then a month later, he's like, oh, thank you so much. Like, I appreciate your help. Because I shouldn't say they, but in my dad's case, he is a diagnosed bipolar. You don't want your medication. That's part of the illness. It's part of how good you feel off of it. But that's the mania part. And it's, I don't want to speak for, yay here, but this is nothing new and like magical to him. It's a part of the disorder that makes you do this. So, it's annoying.
Also, I cannot believe that he's constantly saying that he's been misdiagnosed. He's been given the wrong pills because he's being misdiagnosed by a Jewish doctor. It's like, bitch, you're so fucking rich. What's stopping you from seeking another doctor?
Yeah, nothing.
Get a Christian doctor. Get any other doctor. If you think this Jewish doctor has misdiagnosed you, pretty sure that you've got options.
Yeah.
Go get the right diagnosis, which is definitely not what this is.
I just think it is. So it's because he's public and he's like, he's got this anti-Semitic stuff. If he was just saying like, I was misdiagnosed and I don't want to take my medication, like that would be a very typical response of anyone who's bipolar and not on their medication. I'll just say that. I don't think it's a Kanye specific thing. The Jewish part is the part that he is specifically saying that's wrong. But the other part,
he's throwing in like everything. He's throwing everything that he can at the problem.
Yeah, sure.
It's like, well, first of all, I am definitely anti-Semitic. Second of all, I don't have $1 billion anymore, so feel sorry for me. Third of all, I'm bipolar, but
I'm not.
I'm mixed diagnosed too by a Jewish doctor. So all goes back to being anti-Semitic. Like as you guys can see, I am anything but wrong. Yeah, that's pretty much where he's getting at. Because otherwise, I'm like, what is this? What is this?
Here's something I'm going to bring up. It's not controversial, but like a little bit like sort of, I don't know, whatever. Maybe it's controversial. Okay, so if someone with Tourette's was like screaming, the N-word or saying, I hate the Jews or something like that, like would we blame that person for what the content of what they're saying is?
Maybe he does have Tourette's.
Yeah, maybe he's got Tourette's too. But would we blame that person? I don't think so. And I wonder how much, definitely we can blame him. And I said, like, I'm holding both at the same time. But how much of this really is bipolar too, on top of it all? As confusing as it is, like, I think a lot of this is bipolar and it's a bipolar episode. Now, when you're in these positions of power and you have yes people around you and you don't want to be on your medication and no one's there to hold you accountable, that's where things go off the rails. But I don't know. A lot of this is, I think, mental illness, unfortunately.
Yeah. But see, I worked on a documentary about Tourette's a few years ago, and these people have no control over it. They don't get jobs because it happens during interviews. They can't get a relationship often because, you go on a date and this starts to happen. This is, do
you think it's similar at all?
Because that's not them expressing a thought. That is a physical, it oftentimes is the same thing. It triggered at one point. And then for years and years, it will happen again and again with the same word. Like some of the people that I remember were in the documentary where they would say the word fuck all the time. Like it was very offensive words. So you can imagine when you say those words just 17 times in an interview and you're not getting the job. So it's not that they were saying oh, I have this opinion about, like, there's no opinion. It's just like, it's just a physical manifestation of a thing that it just keeps coming. So I
Sure.
think it's almost like a brain glitch.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it, and I honestly have no idea really, because I have not studied the disorder. But like, just seeing it, it's not something that they are thinking about, or that they want to say to the world, or that they,
Yeah.
you know, in fact, it stops them because they're trying to say something, and in the middle of expressing a thought or an opinion or whatever, this keeps happening. It keeps popping up, and it makes it very difficult for them to communicate, and for them to be understood, and for
Sure.
other people to give them opportunities. And, you know, so I understand that I don't think that being, like, again, I don't know really enough about mental health disorders to like really have an informed opinion. But in my opinion, with bipolar, it's more of a matter of just like I don't think it affects your speech.
Yeah. I guess I just mean to say, like, you know, with that, we can kind of understand and go, okay, like, I know, because like, it's fairly obvious that there's a condition, like, you know, what that person's saying, I'm not going to really take to heart. And it's just with this, I'm like, okay, for sure, the not taking your medication part is part of the disorder of bipolar. So, you know, if, and I'm not saying this is true, but if bipolar made you more conspiratorial because the way your brain works, because the way, you know, social media and all this is working and pushing this content, probably now, especially like the algorithm that he's on is probably so far down like this right-wing conspiracy theory thing. And he, as a person who's got this bipolar disorder and a full-on mania right now, sans medication, is like consuming it as if this is like CNN's 24-hour news coverage, making him this way. Do we have any more sympathy for that or not? That's why I'm like confused, because I'm like, you know, it is a disorder at the end of the day, what he's going through. He has to work harder than someone who doesn't have the disorder to push past these triggers. What he's saying is completely wrong, but I'm like, ooh, you know, I don't know. It's hard to not acknowledge the mental illness part of all of this.
Yes,
I know.
I mean, yes, it's true. But at the same time, anyone in his position could afford to get someone to work with him and be like, look, you're on payroll. You have to stop me from ruining my career when I get an episode, or when something happens. Your job is to stop me, take me off the streets, take me off interviews.
Yeah.
When you are lucid and when you are not having an episode, you could absolutely do that. He's got so much money, he could absolutely do that. He could get an entire team to do that.
But maybe it's the fame and the money that puts him over the edge into this category of, you know, he's surrounded by people who don't want to say no to him, so they're afraid. I don't know. Like, I'm torn. I'm not torn. I'm not like, oh, I feel sympathy for him. I don't. But in the sense of, it's complicated. It's very complicated. I don't think Kanye himself goes, if he was lucid and on medication and living his life, is going to sit there and go, you know, the Jews are really trying to switch my pills and whatever. I think this part, at least, of what he's talking about is clear signs of mental distress. And you got to imagine, he's telling this to a group of people, shoving a camera in his face and flashing photography at him. That's got to have an effect on your mental health as well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I just think that he's been famous for a long time. So he would have, if this was really what the issue was, if this was down to his mental health disorder being just sort of too much to handle, this would have been handled years ago by an entire team. I just don't think that he would have let it. Because, like, imagine, like, you don't want to lose your entire life.
Sure.
Like, everything that you do, and your music and your contract and everything, you know, like, if I was to get any opportunities as a YouTuber, for example, and I knew, well, I can be very anxious and depressed, and, you know, I had money to like hire people to help me when those things happen.
for 20 grand a
Oh
month.
God, not a life coach, but a therapist would be much better.
Yes.
I would absolutely do it. And
Sure.
I don't think this is. It's too almost like too new. Like suddenly, when you're doing all these controversies, we're suddenly having to excuse it for bipolar. But when you did things right and you got really great albums, we didn't say it was bipolar.
Yeah, that's very true. It's like saying like, I'm just human. It's like, well, when you were human when you found success as well. And so now just like, but I'm human. It's like you were human both times. So I don't care. I agree with what you're saying. And I think with the bipolar discussion, I do have like personal experience. Like for example, my dad one time when I was like 8, perhaps, he threatened to burn down where he worked. Now my dad is the most gentle, kind, nice, easy, even keel person like in my life, honestly. And that's not my dad, and it's not him. And he made the phone call 100% convinced like he was gonna burn it down, and that was like just and fair or whatever. He got into the hospital, he got back on his medication, and then he was fired, obviously, but he doesn't believe that when he's fine and medicated that he wants to burn down where he worked. And that's where I'm just like,
you wanted the building?
My dad threatened to. He didn't do it, but he said he wanted to. But that's why I get caught up in all this, because I'm like, I know that's not my dad. That's not him. That's not his true beliefs. But when he would say that he met celebrities and he was working with celebrities, like, I'm working on an album with Paul McCartney. I'm like, I know you're not. He knows, and then later on, he knows he's not. But when you're in that state, it's very hard to separate reality and fantasy. But my dad was not being approached on the street with cameras. I'm sure if he was, he would tell them all of what I just said to them openly and calmly and go, yeah, I believe that this is and I'm working with, Paul McCartney right now. So it's hard for me. I think it's tough. It's tough for me to watch this and not feel a little bit like, this is part of it. This sucks that this is being documented and put out to everybody all over the world, but it is what it is.
Yeah. No, I understand that. And I just think my distrust is towards the fact that I think that he would have been doing and saying these things years ago. Or not these things, other things that were,
Yeah.
But I think he's sort of doubling down on it now.
Yeah.
More than is because gosh, I wish we had an expert that could help us like understand it better, because I don't understand enough of it to like really, but I feel like I just think that it would have been, I think it was handled before.
Yeah.
We didn't get news that he was bipolar until relatively recently.
I mean, bipolar too can be brought on by a stressful environment or some sort of incident that happened. So he might not have been bipolar, and he might, from my understanding, and I am not a mental health professional whatsoever. I have my own personal experience with my dad. That's it. But my dad had a pretty bad car accident when he was 16. And then when he was 17, he got diagnosed. He had no symptoms before the car accident, and he had a head injury from the car accident. They say like something, if you're a hoarder too, with any of these conditions that are kind of like weird and we don't understand it, like something like your parents die in a fire or something, or your parents are hit in a car, and then all of a sudden you now develop like a hoarding disorder, or you now all of a sudden have bipolar. Sometimes they say, stressful situations can bring on the disorder. So maybe when he hit a certain level of fame, that stress and that overworking and all that fame and all that could cause the bipolar to come on. And so maybe before, when he was growing his career, he didn't have these problems, and now that he's at this place, it caused him to have it too.
Yeah, could be.
So
yeah, I think stress does all sorts of things. Like,
yeah,
so many things that are like physical manifestations.
Yeah, definitely. So anyways, just to keep in mind. And again, like what he's saying is ridiculous and horrible. And the problem is he should be speaking this into a void of a universe of people who go, this is ridiculous. This is a man struggling with his mind, as opposed to, oh yes, this is great. Oh, Kanye has stepped up for us and we are just loving his truth. And wow, finally someone brave enough to say this. That's what I'm seeing online from a lot of people, and it's troubling as fuck.
Yeah, and that's the problem with being like a public person. Because like you have people who look up to you and they will do what you say, and not only that, but also the other side that is cannot wait for someone to just sort of become their what's the word I'm looking for?
Mouthpiece?
Yeah.
Spokesperson? Yeah. Yeah, I just think, it's, I don't know. It's all... It's the world we live in that's really the problem here. And how do we fix that? We can't. So, let's watch it burn, I suppose. I don't know.
Wearing the MAGA hat the way that Hollywood's political agenda attacked me and put me to a point of exhaustion was death by 1,000 cuts. Everyone would say something to me, from a driver to my ex-wife to Adidas. Everyone would say something. So when I wore that White Lives Matter, I said, I'm not going through this again. I'm not going. Hey, y'all gonna leave me alone about my t-shirt. Because what's the point of having influence and having money if people could come up and just pinch you?
But don't you think having influence, you have a responsibility?
And that's the responsibility that I'm taking right here.
Don't you think
that's why you asked that question.
But don't you think it's dangerous rhetoric to be anti-Semitic, to say all lives matter or white lives matter? I'm asking.
You're harping on something. Saying white lives matter, anti-Semitic. That's what you just asked.
I'm not saying that's anti-Semitic.
No, you just said that though.
No, and I misspoke. But I'm saying
no, you didn't. That was a Freudian slip.
I'm trying to correct myself.
Okay, correct yourself.
To walk around with
do you want to walk back that statement?
Exactly. Sure, I will.
You got the chance to
walk
back that
statement.
Do you think maybe that? Do you think maybe
no,
that?
Wait a second. He's gonna walk back.
But I'm saying you're wearing the White Lives Matter shirt.
Oh my God, shut up. I don't want to hear you laughing.
And Black Lives Matter, and a lot of people think that you're being anti-black by saying
no, Kyle.
What?
Let him talk, bro. In America, black people don't take all the rights that we have that are actually given to us. Because we weren't given what we were promised in the first place, which was the 40 acres. Instead, we were given...
And a mule.
And a mule. Instead, we were given projects and bad food and posters of Oprah Winfrey. And also Planned Parenthood.
What's he got against Oprah?
People
what's
said
he got against Oprah? I know what I have against Oprah, but what's he got against her?
He wanted a mule instead. I don't know. I'm unfamiliar with this historical reference, I guess.
Historical.
He's
old, yeah.
Yeah, it seems like something that was from the 1800s, I'm assuming, or something. And Planned Parenthood. Okay, now we're on this side of things. I mean, I don't know. I don't have much to say, really.
Let's hear his point, because I'm struggling here.
Yeah.
Me multiple times, visit the Holocaust Museum. I said, visit our Holocaust Museum. It's called Planned Parenthood.
Oh, Jesus
6
Christ.
million Jews died in the Holocaust, and I am sorry for your losses.
No, you're not.
20 million blacks died to abortion, and Planned Parenthood was made by Margaret Sanger with the real KKK as population control. Margaret Sanger is a eugenics and is working today. The number one cause of death for black people in America is abortion. The most dangerous place for a black man today, or black baby,
needs to
black
take
woman,
him off the street,
is in their mother's stomach. And that is a programming that's pushed through, I got a new word for 2024, the red media. That is the red media. If you go to Apple right now.
Why would Jews want to kill black people? That makes no sense.
What is his point? I understand nothing.
I don't know. The thing is, like, if this is an issue that you care about, like, really, then I think you should work to make everyone have universal income or something where people can afford to have children. If it's the same thing when people stand outside of Planned Parenthood now and protest and go, don't do this, but then, say, just put your kid up for adoption. Oh, how many kids have you adopted? Oh, none. Okay, then shut the fuck up. Like, if you're not going to, if you are there protesting and trying to prove your point, it's like, put your money where your mouth is and start adopting some kids. Like, I don't want to hear it if you have an opinion and you're not, living up to your side of things. It's like, I don't know.
This is so chaotic. Like, I'm not able to keep the pace. Like, I just feel like what is he trying to say? Like, he's trying to, like, compare traumas.
Yeah, like, oh, the Holocaust is one thing, but have you heard about what happened to us? It's like, oh, okay, yeah, like,
yeah, and they're both like the biggest strategies in humankind.
Yeah, and I don't think Planned Parenthood. I think it's the only thing. No, I think it's a good thing for society. And if a woman wants to choose to do whatever,
slavery. I was talking.
Oh yeah, yes.
Like slavery and the Holocaust are the
atrocities,
biggest atrocities that have ever happened on this planet. And
agreed.
Yeah, and Planned Parenthood, where the fuck did this come from? What are you talking about here?
It's a conservative talking point, because even when COVID was happening, it was like, yeah, well, 1 million people died from COVID. Yeah, well, 2 million people had abortions. So that's the real tragedy. It was like, okay.
Yeah, but those are not people.
Well, they don't agree. They disagree. This is a whole, debate about.
Sperm. That's what it is.
Yeah. That's a whole other conversation. But yeah, I don't know. He's a conservative now. That's what happens when you make money too. You somehow become more conservative a lot of times.
Yeah. No, suddenly when you get canceled, you're like on your way to the far right, and you find community again.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to Parler and Twitter.
If you go to Apple right now, go to Apple Music. Let's load up the top 10 songs. I guarantee you they're promoting black serial killing. Absolutely. Not just one. They're promoting black. The red media is making money off of blacks being serial killers to each other. Also misogynistic. The red media is making money off of that. And God sees it. But I understand, and I'm not judging, because the oppressed becomes the oppressor. And it is our time now. Blacks are coming into money. We are not scared anymore. And I showed you that I crossed that line. They tried to bankrupt me. They tried to say I was crazy.
Bankrupt
and I'm alive. We haven't had a full black community since the gentrification of Harlem and Black Wall Street, which was torn down. But I know my brothers, my engineers, my architects, my farmers are gonna rise up. And if it meant they had to take me and drag me like Emmett Till in front of everyone, because I whistled.
Emmett Till, he really likes to compare himself to the victims of abuse and murder a lot, but then also wears a White Lives Matter shirt, and it's this very confusing, conflicting message. He's just like George Floyd. He's just like Emmett Till because he wore a White Lives Matter shirt.
Okay. Yeah, what's this chat about? Like, oh, look, we're now like finally, black people finally have power and money and whatever. It's like, so why are you wearing a White Lives Matter t-shirt at Paris Fashion Week?
And wear it. I don't give a shit. Honestly, I don't care. You look like an asshole. That's your right to look like an asshole. I don't care. Yeah. You can wear it.
You can wear it, but it doesn't mean that people need to like it.
Exactly. It's like, a good thing that reminded me is when all this started, 2 years ago or whatever, and people were like, all lives matter. It's not just Black Lives Matter. It's like, okay, if you're at the, breast cancer awareness walk, and everyone's like, okay, we're here. We got an issue with breast cancer. It's on the rise. We need to work on it. And then I was like, all cancers matter. Breast cancer is not any more special than any other cancer. How dare you? And make a big fucking deal about it and go to the squawk and say, stomach cancer matters also. Like, everyone be like, what are you doing here? You know, like, we get it. No one's disagreeing with your point, but like, we're here for a purpose. And this is the thing we're addressing now, today. Like, that's why I'm like, you know, with this whole conversation about, you know, wear the shirt, don't wear the shirt, whatever. No one is saying, oh, white people don't exist and don't matter in this world. No one has ever said that in my understanding of basic, you know, human conversations about this topic. So I don't know.
Yeah, this is pretty unhinged of him. I have no idea what he's going on about. He's lost me.
Yeah. I think he's lost himself. And the people that are the problem is, honestly, the biggest problem I see with this whole thing is the people that are there going, yeah. That's only feeding his delusions further. And
Yeah, I
that's
think
the real issue.
Probably doing it on purpose. They want him to keep talking.
Probably. Yeah, they're probably paparazzi. They're getting paid to hear him say something out of this world.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
I know my brothers, and I have no reason to lie. My family was taken away from me. My reputation has been smeared.
You got divorced.
What do you mean your family was taken away? Who took your family away?
Pete. I don't know.
Well, no, but like, he can go see his kids probably all the time. Like, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
He's got a confusion about taking away and being left.
My money was taken away from Adidas. My family by Kim. Just like, bro, you know, she can choose.
Yeah, women have rights, despite what you may
Women are
believe.
also people. When white lives matter too, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Kim's lives matter. Kim's
So
husband's
let's close
matter.
with a prayer. Father God, thank you.
Lord.
Thank you for keeping me alive. Thank you for the voice. Thank you for the clarity. Thank you for the experience. And thank you for the love. Because even though the real hate is what's happening on the media, and the idea of DEF CON was to get protected for a time like this, let's lead with love. I have no association to any hate group. If any hate happens upon any Jewish person, it is not associated, because I am demanding that everyone walk in love.
Shut up. Yes, it is.
Unfortunately, you don't have control of that. So that's a good legalese. I am protected from
I have
any.
never heard someone say the word DEF CON and protection in the same sentence. But I guess there's a first for everything.
Didn't
Imagine
you say Death Con, like Death Con? I thought
Yeah.
it was. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
sorry.
you misused it, I think,
mispronounced.
too. No, you said it right. He said it wrong.
Oh.
I believe.
It's just like what, because like this is the same Nazi rhetoric that has been going on for a very long time. Like, oh, we're just protecting ourselves. Like, you're not protecting yourself. You're like killing people. Like, you know, that's what the Nazis were doing. And he's saying that same thing. Like, oh, the whole idea about my tweet about DEF CON is just to protect people from Jewish people. Like, excuse me? How?
He's like, well,
How
it's not
are
my
you-
fault that the media is just made up of Jewish people. So therefore, you know, I'm just criticizing Jewish people in the media. It's like, okay. I don't know what you're trying. I don't think he knows what he's trying to do at this point. He's just reading articles off of like the Daily Wire and InfoWars and just like putting it into his own brain funnel and then repeating it out loud and having people go, yeah.
Yeah, and I think he's been really like going to all these interviews like Piers Morgan, and it's like so happy right now to be you know, contrarian because he got fired from Good Morning America. Sorry,
Good Morning Britain.
Good Morning Britain a while ago. He's gone on the Fox News thing. So all these people are like,
Using him.
keep spreading this. Yeah, exactly. And he's just here. I don't think. I don't know. I just hate that this is happening.
Yeah, me too. And again, my issue is that people listen to this and go, wow, yay. And that's my concern. Because people think like when we learned about World War II, and at least in the United States, I think a lot of people thought, and this is an argument I've heard before, and I think it's interesting. They go, I would be on the side of the protectors, the people who are helping the Jews hide, and I would stand up and like not be okay with this because we have hindsight behind us to go, oh my God, look at how horrible and horrendous that was, and we can see it clearly with video evidence of like how bad it was. But when you're living in the moment of it and there's things that are happening that are not okay, you can't see the full picture yet. And it's a lot easier to not be on the right side of history, I think, more than people think it is. Because there's people alive now that are still working at jobs probably, or at least like, about to retire age, that were, leading protests against segregation. Or no, for segregation. That were like, we're not going to integrate our schools. And those people are not dead necessarily. Those people are still out there somewhere, and that chose a side and chose, I think, the wrong side. So I don't know. I think the fact that people aren't immediately going, this is wrong and this is ridiculous and we've learned our lesson already, is scary. It's the scariest thing about all this.
And I think people really just kind of, you can talk all you want while you're at peace and whatever, but when things really hit the fan, and that's not a moment where it's just like you get your survival instinct, and that's pretty much all it counts. Like those people who, like Anne Frank, didn't just become heroes because they did the usual thing. It's just.
And we're trying to take, racism, any talk of racism out of schools conversations, which I think is a bad idea. Not being able to discuss what has happened in the past, or people being afraid to say the wrong thing so that the whole conversation about what racism is doesn't get discussed at all. I think that just leads to more confusion and more indoctrination by people like this and, websites without paywalls.
Yeah, the fact that they're trying to take those conversations out of schools is I didn't know about this, but that sounds so bad.
Well, it's a complicated issue as well. They're calling it critical race theory, which is not like what people think it is. Critical race theory, from my understanding, is like a collegiate level like theory on race and society, and it's taught at a very high level in college for a certain major. That's what critical race theory actually is. But when Republicans and right-wing people took it and made it a talking point in these, town hall debates, they made it seem like, teachers in schools are making white kids feel bad about the color of their skin, and that, they're all oppressors and they're all horrible, hideous people for existing as white people. And we can't stand for that. That's what's being taught at our schools. And then there is a complete uproar of parents and people going and saying, I don't want this taught in my schools. And now it's become something completely different than when it started off. But basically it's now become like, let's ban books that deal with these certain issues. Let's take it out of the curriculum. Let's, now it's bleeding over into LGBTQ stuff. Like, we just don't want that to be a part of our curriculum. Like, this is scary stuff, I think.
Yeah.
Deleting education and truth. So
yeah, because why is that a good thing? Why do you need to basically put your head in the sand in order to be able to keep going with the educational system? Why do you need to stop thinking about what it was that really built America? Why do we stop thinking about all these things? Why do you have to take it out? Is it because it feels like it's
uncomfortable?
I think it's because it's so disruptive to the system as it is, that they would rather just take your ability to even discuss it. Yeah. Because then the vast majority of white men at the top don't have to suffer, and they continue their their charade, and it's, nothing's ever going to change. They like, you have to understand, at least in the way I see it, why would a 70-year-old man like Trump want critical race theory to be actually taught?
He wouldn't.
He wouldn't,
no
because
benefit.
he's a white man who benefits heavily from being a white man in power. He does not want, Obama to be back, or he does not. Why would that help him in any way? Like that would only damage his position and his power. And I think, unfortunately, it's just literally because the men at the top are benefiting heavily from things being the way they are, or even worse.
Yeah, I think it's the same conversation about freedom of speech. A lot of conservatives will say, oh, I'm just like, people just hate me. And they take this like villainous role. Like, I'm just telling the truth, but people hate me. It's like, people don't necessarily hate you. They just don't agree with what you're saying. And what you're saying is hurtful to their people, or to, a large group of people probably. And we don't have to all agree on everything. So, but they like, I think, well, I shouldn't say they like, but I think a lot of high-level conservative people who are used to controversy and all that, they like the role of like, I'm a bad guy who's just telling the truth. But when it comes to, and I think going back to the critical race theory stuff, it's like, to be a conservative in America means you have to kind of be supportive of a lot of atrocities that have happened. How did you get that generational wealth? Well, my great granddad owned a plantation. It's like, that starts to feel bad. So instead of dealing with how that feels and moving forward, it's like, let's just erase it from history. I mean, same with you go back all the way to the beginning of America with the native land and all of that. It's like, sweep that under the rug, forget about it, call it manifest destiny, and we'll just call it a day. And that's sort of what's happened. And it's been a fight to keep the truth alive. When we celebrate fucking Christopher Columbus Day still here in this country, it's like ridiculous. I don't know. I'm just going off now.
Yeah, no, I'm always here for that conversation. I just think it's also very, at least clear from some points of view, that they're very threatened by this.
Yes.
Like at the top, they know that like change is imminent, and they're trying desperately to hide things, to hide history. How are you going to hide race? How are you going to hide what happened? Like, you can hide it from America, but you think that all of the countries on this planet are going to take it out of their curriculum? Like,
yeah.
No.
But, the problem is, and maybe it's because, and this is me being conspiratorial. Maybe it's because if they hide the truth of our racist past, then when these people come out with like, oh, I found these documents on a website that say that Dr. Fauci's a vampire, they go, well, that was hidden information too, so that must be true. Both of these things that have been hidden from the public are on the same value level. We need to include all information, all theory, all conspiracies, and then people don't want that either. So it's that like, okay, well, I guess we shouldn't talk about anything ever.
This is very close to home for me, because Romania was under a dictatorship, and we everything and everyone was censored. And this is, I guess, why I get so pissed off with this conversation about freedom of speech, because in Romania they literally took intellectuals that were talking against the government and put them in prison. They took their freedom away. They took their lives away. They took them and put them in prison. And with the media, they only had like one program, all like just propaganda about the government. Like, they did not allow international media. They did not allow like things
Free
on
press.
TV. That's what that went on for 50 years after the Second World War. This is not that long ago. This is 30 years ago when it stopped. Before I was born, that same December 89, and I was born in August 1990. So I was literally born into the free world, but my parents grew up in that. My grandparents, like, that's all they knew. So many people of the next generation before me, that's what they grew up in. They went to those schools where they didn't get taught anything, where they knew all they knew was fear, and all they knew was that they need to like speak very highly of the president. They were brainwashed since 2 years old.
Yeah.
And it's very it's the kind of thing that was not the case before. This was not the way it was before this president that we got.
Yeah.
Like before that, we were free to speak. So the reason why this is very serious, it's because I feel like it can literally change in a moment with one government. Like this is what happened to us. The world happened, then we were like sort of like basically split. Europe was split in half. We fell under the Soviets. We got this president, and that's what he did. And he brainwashed population for 50 years. So these things are not like, this like, it'll never happen, blah, blah, blah. We're too advanced.
No.
You're never too advanced for like someone in power to come and take everything that you know away from and change things in an instant.
I mean, they tried. They tried here to say Trump won. He's going to be in office again. And you think that he was going to let that go a second time? If he had somehow gotten like the election overturned into his favor, that would have been like, okay, now we're no longer a democracy. Now we are going into this new thing, and it's not people were on board with it once again. Like, it's not like America said, no, this is not our values. No, there was a lot of people who were like, yeah, good, let's overturn this result because it's all a conspiracy, and that whole thing with January 6th and storming the Capitol and all of that. Like, it's very much a possibility and realistic to be afraid of these things, I think, about being taken over, and because it's not like it would go punished. Like what's happening, this is totally off topic, but like what's happening in Iran right now, where people are rising up against the powers that are pushing down on them, and they're becoming liberalized as we speak. I don't know if that would happen here. I think there's enough suppression, and we have all these weapons and stuff among the population that I don't know if we would be able to say, no, like we want to keep our democracy. Like, I wonder if it would just be like, okay, like conservatives decided like we're going to have Trump in office and we've killed the president, and now this is what we're doing. Like, I don't know if we would have the power to fight back against that as a country. I don't know.
I think it's a matter of who, and this is where real power comes into play. And I think it's a matter of who has influence. And this is why influencers like just the fact that he's talking all this crap like is so bad, because at the end of the day, the way that people garner power in those, like in Iran, for example, it probably started small. It took a long time for people to just kind of get on board, the resistance, I suppose. Like, so just it's kind of like if Trump has enough access to media that he can only spread his voice and his message, or like the message of his party, and he only allows those people to talk, then they are going to gather power because people can only hear them and they don't hear the other side. So this is why conversation is so, like, debates are so important. Just being able to hear both sides of the thing, of the coin, is like really very powerful in itself, because you're not getting brainwashed that way. You're just you're hearing, and you're able to think for yourself and just decide where you stand. And that is a freedom that has been fought for, and for centuries, the freedom to choose. And it's I think, unfortunately, the reality of the situation is that it's very probable that something like that could happen. And I think because if enough people can gather around and are able to censor the other side, then any country is fucked. Like, it's like you're relying on the opposition. That's why you have, like, in the UK, you get the Labour, who's the opposition of the Tories. And like, if you didn't have Labour, you would only get the voice of the Tories. You would only get one side of the story. and it's the same for you guys with the Republicans and the conservatives. It's very important to have two. Like and this is what happened in Romania. The party, the Communist Party that took charge, they just basically obliterated the opposition, and so there was no more opposition. So that's how they got the power. They literally got rid of them.
Yeah, that's one way to do it.
Yeah. And then there was nobody who had freedom to speak against them. So that was it. That was literally, it's as much as it sounds like complicated, it's very easy. They just got rid of the opposition and they thrived for 50 years.
I unfortunately think what would happen here, instead of getting rid of the opposition, like physically or pushing, I think it would be a psychological push to gaslight yourself. And I see that a lot, like on certain things, like, you can't listen to those idiots. They're not even from America. Like when Obama was running, like, Trump was one of the people who was like, oh, he's not even from America. He's from Kenya. Like, let's see his birth certificate. Just completely make it seem like the other side is so unimportant and like, oh no, we're the only real side that matters. Don't ever listen to, like, okay, here let's tie it back into self-help. Here's how this self-help hurts this whole argument. It's like, only surround yourself with people who are positive. Okay, who's positive? People you align with, right? People who have the same viewpoints as you, probably. You're not going to want to listen to the other side that's, in your opinion,
people
hateful.
Who are not going to question or like complain. So they're not going to
or say, no, something's wrong. Something's wrong about what you're saying. Something's not quite right. Okay, so self-help would say, don't go listening to that. Don't go listening to things like that and put you in a bad vibe. Oh, how horrible. Focus inwardly. Okay, focus inwardly. Everyone's focusing on the inside. So then what are you getting shaped by? The media that you're consuming, which is only what you want to hear because that's better for you as a person and for your mental health. The people who are around you who probably were the ones who told you what to put on in the first place, because that's how we get a lot of our, beliefs and culture, from the people who are in the community, your family. And it's like, okay, so now we're all these little islands of belief because we're not listening to each other. And then it's like, now let's just take over the government. Like, I don't know. I think it's going to be more like that, like psychologically over time, telling people to not trust anyone else but us.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, unfortunately, in today's world, it's also a matter of corporations having power and money just being, well, money probably has always been the ruling, power. But I think corporations now, and we see it, and this is what they're talking about when they say they took their freedom, because like it's getting kicked off Twitter. Twitter is a corporation, like so it's even more scary because right now, if the far right wants to buy corporations, they know how to do that.
Yeah,
like they could do that if they had the funds, and like or whatever. I don't know. They could do that probably. I don't think it would be as simple as like, yeah, I'm just gonna buy all of the social medias. But I think
sort of what's happening. Kanye wants to buy Parler, or Ye wants to buy Parler, which is a conservative app. Elon's at Twitter. Zuckerberg's dying over at Facebook, so who knows what's going to happen there. Instagram, is sort of dying, they say. So I don't know.
Who's buying these people? Like, who's? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, someone could come in and go, "Hey, I'll help you bail out. You're losing so much market share a month, Zuckerberg. Let me take over." And then it's like,
yeah, like how long until Elon gets insane and is totally fine to be bought by government and whatever and do whatever the government says, or like, it's, or not the government, but just whoever has any sort of way to get to him. But that's the thing, because it's complicated and scary.
Yes.
Yeah. And we got to protect people's rights to speak, but at the same time, it's like nobody has the right to be hateful. That shouldn't be paramount, just
It's
I don't
tough.
know.
It's tough because I'm like, my thoughts are, you can't restrict speech at all. You have to just hope that the population becomes educated enough to know when something's wrong.
But the population is not going to get educated.
I know, but I don't like the idea of like saying like this is hateful, this is not hateful, because in the sense of freedom of speech, because it's subjective. If I'm saying, something about like women have the right to choose, someone out there is going to be like, that's hateful speech. And I disagree. And I never want it. That's something going back to Jordan Peterson, I aligned with him in the beginning. You have to define these things very carefully. What is freedom of speech and what does it mean? Because as soon as you start to go, this is a hateful word, this is not a hateful word, it's subjective, and now we're putting laws on it, that's very dangerous, slippery slope, in my opinion. So I don't know. I'm on the liberal side of say whatever you want, but people need to be able to understand that, that's not okay.
That would be
discernment.
Great.
Yeah, I know. It's not realistic.
If they didn't go against education too. But
Yeah.
when they're going against education and they're taking things out of the curriculum, and then you pair that with just speak your mind and do and say whatever, it becomes dangerous because people are like unable to really get properly educated because
Yeah.
they're not given the means to like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Like, I feel like
that's where it's tough.
Like, yeah, it's very tough. It's very tough.
Yeah, because I agree. So if I'm super liberal in the sense of like freedom of speech means freedom of speech, like whatever you say. Also, education needs to be open and liberal, and what is on there. But then again, like, okay, if you open it up to curriculum, then all of a sudden you're learning about some crazy other shit that's like completely insane. So it's like, I don't know. I guess that's the thing. It's like I'm not a person that knows what to do. It's frustrating. I don't know.
I love that our channel is like this very funny mix
Devolving.
of like just us like cringing and laughing at influencers, but at the same time we sometimes like towards the 3-hour mark we go into these deep philosophical debates, and I love it
Because it's all related.
Totally have
though.
a philosophy.
Yeah,
we could be like cringe philosophers.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I'm trying to think of a cringe-losopher. I don't know.
Cringe-losophers?
Yeah. And the thing is, like, okay, again, we're two
Cringe-losophy.
people. Cringe-losophy. Ooh, we can write a book.
Ooh, yes, let's do it. What
How
do you guys
Kanye
think?
led us to fixing democracy.
Oh, it's not just Kanye. We've been having these chats for a year now. Almost.
True.
Well, not a year. Is it in February that we started?
I think
Soon
so.
enough, it'll
Or
be
April.
a year.
Yeah. Yeah, I did my first live stream in January on my channel, and I think we started shortly after because I was like, okay, it works. I know how to do it now. And then I think we decided after that.
I think it's February for sure.
Okay. Yeah, and I think the same thing too. Like we're working out things sort of in real time on live stream. So if I say something today, tomorrow I might go, that was a stupid ass thing I said. I take it back completely. So that is also always a possibility.
But
at
I'm
least for
here
me.
to protect your right to change your mind.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Anyways, do you want to watch the last minute of this?
Let's see.
Let's wrap it up with a prayer.
Even though there's been things that have happened wrong to me that made me want to speak up, that you guys saw in the past 2 weeks. You saw the power. You saw Ari Emanuel come out in public and ask, if that happened in public, what do you think happened in private? And what do you think happened in private to so many people for so many years? But what I'm telling everyone, no matter what background you are, no matter what socioeconomic class you are, walk with love right now. Do what God would want. What would Jesus do? Walk with love, spread happiness.
Jesus do, okay.
I thought that I wasn't gonna be like MLK and stand there. There's times I felt very Malcolm X, but for some reason God has called me to love and to ask for love.
He's compared
So
himself.
Rachel Hollis.
Yeah, he's confused because he's compared himself to George Floyd,
MLK,
Emmett Till, Malcolm X. So
I'm sorry.
people who are, at many different levels associated with Black history, and yet he doesn't see the irony of all of that.
This is so pathetic. This is so pathetic. How can you sit there and just literally be anti-Semitic and compare yourself to MLK?
Yeah.
MLK was the absolute opposite of that.
Yeah.
He literally had this speech. Oh my God. I don't think I ever listened to the full thing, but I've listened to like multiple things. Probably the full thing, but like different clips. And how can you say my tweet about going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people is being like Martin Luther King?
Because you're deluded and you need chemical medication to help you. That's why. I don't know.
Seriously, like that man was all about unity and just like a progressive future that would be good for everyone. And he's going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. And that's the same thing. That's just like putting such a bad, like, it just makes me sad to hear this.
Yeah. I don't think MLK Jr. was like, I'm a millionaire, and so therefore they're just hating on me because I have too much money. Like, I don't think that was his point either. Like, his argument was why they were hating him.
For everyone, it's time for us just to love, because love is the answer. It is the only way. Gandhi said, someone who was actually considered to be a racist, right? Gandhi said,
what did he say?
An eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind. Jesus, Father God, spread the love. Put the love in our hearts. And know that we are not each other's enemy, but we're all children of you. And you can bring this world to a peaceful place on earth as it is in heaven. In Jesus' name, amen. Love you guys.
Thank you, Kanye.
Thank you, man. We love you. I'm done with my energy stuff.
What did he say? Can I get you on a Vine? What did he say? Hold on. Some random kid's like, hey, can I get your picture? Hold on.
Thank you, Kanye.
Thank you, man. We love you. I'm done with my energy.
Oh, a couple vinyls.
What does he say though? I'm done with my energy stuff?
Who, this kid?
No, Kanye, just after the kid.
Oh, let me see.
Thank you, Kanye.
No, I think that's what he said, I think.
No, he said, just when the kid says that.
Oh, okay.
He says something.
Kanye.
Thank you, man. We love you. I'm done with my energy stuff.
Oh, my energy's done.
I'm done, my energy's done. Okay.
Well, it would take a lot of energy to get all that
going
out
into
there.
The mania is over. Okay.
My energy's done. I said my piece. I've said enough. Where was he? At a yogurt shop?
So hard right now.
I'm going through the hard.
From all this thinking.
I have to take a Skechers deal instead of Adidas. Oh, God.
Oh, damn.
It's so bad.
Just the freedom is gone.
Jeez. Well,
didn't he also say he was Jewish on Piers Morgan?
Yeah, and someone commented, I don't know if it was to us or to me specifically on my channel or something, or on Instagram, I forget, but they were like, oh, you need to look into like the first Jews were black. I'm like, okay, I just still think like I'm fine to like look into it and see what, he may have meant, but I find to give him that much credit to like, oh, what he said was actually right and like he meant this and therefore he's a genius is just not what I'm trying to do with my time.
Yeah, I don't think he's thought about it enough for us to like put a lot of research into thinking that he thought, he's
like the lost tribes of something, and apparently, and I agree, like what he's saying, and I don't know what he's saying, but I think if you made the argument like, okay, Jesus, for example, the picture that we have of him, like the white, pale-skinned version of Jesus does not make sense historically living in Jerusalem and then the time frame where he would have been a dark-skinned man. That is like historically accurate, I believe, scientifically accurate, like just based on the sun. And yet, because we have this image of him taken around by white people, now that's changed. Okay, so if the argument is Jews were black back in biblical times, I'm on board with that. Black skin, dark skin, whatever. But I don't think that has anything to do with what Kanye's saying about today, Jewish media running ABC News. I just don't find the connection to be there personally.
Yeah, no, I think it's. I can't imagine Kanye having done his research and just being like, "Well, did you know?" Like, so I don't think he. I don't even know why he said that. Like,
I don't know, and that's why I'm like, I don't know what to really look into. Like, I'm not disagreeing that point is probable or something, but it's like besides the point of it all, to me. Like, okay.
Yeah, I thought at first that he was gonna just use that as an excuse. Didn't really, so at least I thank him for that, I suppose.
Yeah, I get. And no, obviously, you can be Jewish and black. That is also a possibility. There are people who identify as black and also are of the Jewish faith. So that's also obviously possible. I'm not saying that that's not. So I hope that's clear. That I didn't think that
Jewish is a religion independent of color.
Yeah, and you can be Israeli. That's a whole other thing too. But that's not. No one's debating that either. So I don't find it relevant personally.
It's not. This was unhinged. Like his speech was completely gone. Like sorry, but when he got MLK involved,
that was your last stand. Your last
no,
straw.
but really, like what an insult to MLK. Really, I just no.
I was out when he was talking about George Floyd. I was out.
Yeah.
Like, ridiculous.
Yeah, I've heard him talk about George Floyd about because him and Candace Owens made a documentary about George Floyd.
Mm-hmm. Should we cover Candace Owens at some point, or is that
yes, we should. Oh my god, yes. But she drives me nuts. Like I lose my cool as if I ever have any cool. But no, Candace just drives me nuts every time I watch her. But yeah, we should.
Why? Okay, here's about Candace, but about all of them, and about like Tommy Lauren again, to bring her up, the blonde conservative that had a similar idea to Candace, but did it before her. Why is it if you're a woman who is on the conservative side, who has a show, like their whole setup is always the same? It's like in an empty studio, sitting at a desk at a green screen, and they like speak to the camera with this really aggressive tone, and they do it like this. Like that's all how they are. Like why can't they just like have a variety of having the same talking points but in different deliveries? It's like they had one model that worked and they just follow it and do it. And it's so weird to me.
Well, I think it's unfortunately it sells. Emotion sells, and I think it gets people riled up and stuff. So I think that's why they do it.
But no one tries comedy. No one tries musical theater to deliver these messages. Like that's the only way that works. Is like direct, mean, mad, upset, out of desk.
It's just because they know they don't have like facts. They don't, you know what I mean? They don't have the logic to back them up. So they're gonna like triple down on the emotion. Because if you were to sit down and look at what they say, which is what we should do, it doesn't really stand when you think about it. So they're like bringing all this emotion to stop people from really thinking about what they're saying. Because they're so angry, and you get angry watching. You know, like emotion is something that you kind of share with people. So
if someone's laughing, even if it's not funny to me, like I start laughing because they're laughing. Because it's like funny to watch them laugh. Same thing probably with anger. Like, oh, I'm watching someone be angry. I'm fucking getting pissed now too.
Yeah, because we're empathetic human beings. So I think this is this is another big talking point, I guess. But like, it's just a strategy that they employ, I think.
Yeah,
and also, I don't think that they're the most like educated and be like, I'm coming here with my bullet points and I've looked into this, and like, I don't even know how they do it. Do they have a researcher hands them a paper with like 3 things to say, and then they go crazy angry about it? Or I don't know.
I guess. I don't know. It's just something I noticed. And there's this one, it's like a Christian conservative channel. It's called, I forget what it's called, but there's one person who calls herself like the anti-Rachel Hollis, which I'm just like, okay. She's like very conservatively Christian. I don't know. she basically said Rachel Hollis wasn't Christian enough, and so now she's going to be like the influencer. And that person, I found about her because obviously Rachel Hollis stuff adjacent, and she went on a talk show, like a podcast show, to talk about her book or whatever. But that show was the same thing. It's the same exact thing. It's like woman at desk with microphone, empty studio, angrily delivering monologue. That's the only
Ben
delivery.
Shapiro does it too. I always wonder how they do the videos. Always. Because like when I made the video about Ethan Klein and Ben Shapiro, because Ethan Klein was recently suspended from YouTube for a week because he said that if there was another Holocaust, Ben Shapiro should be gassed first.
Or last.
Or last, yeah.
That was the question.
Saved himself with that one.
Yeah.
But when that happened, I watched Ben Shapiro's response, and Ben Shapiro was reading his own tweets at Ethan.
He's like, guess what I said? Look what I said.
I'm
here.
like, oh, is that the level of research we're putting into this? We're reading tweets that we sent?
Look at the facts.
Okay.
Here's me saying this. Okay.
And I will 100% say that Ben Shapiro was right in that situation. So it's not even that he was wrong, but in my mind was like, what happened here? Did you not get a researcher to like give you some,
why bother?
Some bullet points or something? You're like, no, I'm just going to read my own tweets.
Yeah. It complicates. And I saw a TikTok. It was like, why do more people join conservative than liberal, or why is it easier to join the conservative side? It's like, because it's easier. Like when it comes to, more nuanced conversation about like anything, like, okay, mental health, what's your stance? Well, it's complicated. There's lots of issues. There's things that are okay. There's things that aren't okay. There's healthcare issues. Liberals will, or people who aren't taking a side or are apolitical, can debate things and go over things a million different ways. It leaves people without knowing where they stand at the end. Conservatives are like, mental health is not real. Mental illness is fake. Simple.
Trump be like, drink some bleach and you'll get rid of COVID.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's your stance on racism? Doesn't exist. Okay. Go to the other side. Well, there's many different forms of it. There's systemic, there's, overt, there's microaggressions. There's so many ways to do. That's why I think a lot of people who, like you said, maybe aren't as educated or don't want to take the time to really develop these long thought out philosophies or don't have the time to do it, they pick the easier route, which is the conservative side. It's easier.
Yeah. Yeah, it also speaks to some fears that people have. Because people have fears that have come from being told the same things over and over, oftentimes. And, like Kanye regurgitating this thing that Jewish people are at the helm of different companies and stuff. And now it speaks to people's fears of being like, oh, I may never be able to advance in my career because Jewish people are going to take that away from me.
It's like immigrants, same thing. The same
fear
argument.
is a very powerful feeling.
Yeah.
And it drives people to it's yeah. I don't know if I have a big developed point here, but I just think that when they speak to that, it validates people's fear, and you're like, oh shit, they are right. I know a Jewish person who does, so suddenly you're gonna start to hate people because of that.
Yeah, well, that's already happened, and look what happened from that. Like just sowing the seed of doubt in people's heads. Like, oh, Jews are the ones who are behind all of this. Okay, that grows over time, and when there's more rhetoric and more, look, oh, you're unhappy. Look at the Mexicans coming in. Oh, they're the ones who have done this and this and this, and it's like it just breeds, especially in these environments online where it's just all day, every day. It's like, here's an example. Here's a thing I found. Here's this and that. It's growing out of control. And people said, I was listening to the Conspirituality podcast. It's a really good, I love that podcast. And they were talking about how in the seminar circuit, like in the 90s before the internet was big, it took like 5 years of like traveling the country, teaching your bullshit manifestation course before you were able to spread it to other trainers. And it got enough momentum that it was known around that community. And now people are jumping into trainings within 6 months of launching their idea to the world. Now they're going out and training trainers and like trying to spread it quickly. It's just we're seeing things advance so fast because of the mediums we have now to spread these ideas. These aren't new ideas or new things. It's just the speed in which they go from 0 to 100 is so much faster.
Yeah, 100%. It's the internet technology, all that stuff. But it's great. I think in some ways because like you have more access to, and if you don't have, for example, what we were talking before, critical race theory class in uni or in school or whatever, you can find information on the internet. So it is great for accessibility, but at the same time, there is so much that is misinformation and so much that is just straight up false and like conspiratorial and it's And
it looks very similar to the balance stuff. And a lot of, like we said, the biggest point of this whole video is we don't like paywalls. And the paywalls usually have the best information that's more biased and fair, usually.
Yeah. And I think, I'm just so annoyed that we're going to keep seeing more and more of that because it's going to become really costly to do our jobs.
Yeah, for real.
On YouTube.
I know. It'll be cheaper just to read Hollywood. What was it? The Hollywood Fix. We could watch that for free anytime.
Oh yeah, we're gonna start getting our news just straight up from tabloids and nowhere else.
The National Enquirer. Did you know that Queen Elizabeth is actually alive still?
She's like a reptile.
She's actually a reptile.
Did you see that thing? I think I made a video about it. Like I was still in Romania at that point, so it was a while ago. About when the Queen died, Trisha Paytas.
Her baby. They're like, it's the baby's reborn.
That she's like 2 centimeters dilated or something, and everyone started to say that the Queen is reincarnated into Trisha's baby. And
as they said, walk that statement back. Everyone said that, or like 4 people.
So many people were saying that. I was reading tweets. It was so funny. And this is there you go. Why did I say this? I feel like I had a point. Oh, because you said something about the Queen. Sorry. Yeah.
So it's actually Trisha's new baby. Yeah.
Yeah, Trisha's new baby, Malibu Barbie, is the Queen reincarnated.
It makes sense to me. I'm down with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
She
was like full on pregnant, by the way, because she said she was like dilated 1 centimeter or something like that. Like that's not that's not you don't give birth at 1 centimeter. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess reincarnation happens at 1 centimeter of dilation. Everyone knows that, Cam. Come on.
But some of the tweets are hilarious. Like I was just dying laughing. It was great. And it was nice to see Trisha was not at the bottom of this, like for once.
That's what you think.
She was not. She really wasn't. I think she was trying to stay out of drama because she was like so heavily pregnant, like about to give birth any day that she was getting into anything. But it was funny to see her level-headed for once.
That's good. Yeah, her baby's name is really Malibu Barbie, right?
Yeah, that's it. Malibu Barbie.
Is it 1 word or 2?
2.
Oh, okay. Malibu Barbie.
Malibu Barbie, yeah.
We call her Malibab for short.
Yeah, she's already made the baby content in so many ways. I love that for family vlogs. Yay. My faves.
Poor kid.
Yeah.
And the cycle continues.
It'll never be over.
No. One day.
Yeah.
Or not. Anyways, this is all I have to say to everybody. I don't even have to say goodbye anymore. I have it lined up, queued up.
I'm going to send you so much love and so much light and so much good energy today because I feel like you need it.
You do need it. No.
Nice.
I also need it.
Yeah, same. I need darkness and hate. I'm going to spread it to you because I think you need it.
Yes, I shall too. I'm happy to spread the hate like all day, every day.
If this is what hate looks like, I don't want to be lover.
I actually had therapy this Monday. And my therapist was like asking me things, and I was like saying, my regular cynical like shit, and she was like, negativity, and I was like, shut up. Does she want me?
Oh God.
Should I
expose my therapist? Expose channel.
Should I come with like a big rant about toxic positivity? Is this what's going on here?
Yeah, you should get it out of the way now, so you know if you guys are matched.
I figured maybe this first session was not quite the place for my rant.
Yeah,
because I could speak about it for a good old hour.
Yeah. I come out with it off the bat. I'm like, this is where I'm coming from.
Just so you know, I have a channel against toxic positivity.
Yeah.
I'm all about that healthy negativity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my therapist is like, that's fine, but you should also deal with it as well. I was like, okay. No.
Never. Thank you.
This is my way to deal.
Yeah, mine was like, we just have 6 sessions, you know.
Gotta cure your negativity. 6 sessions or less. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Well, I have this for you. Love and light.
Love and light,
it's a different camera. So.
This is the queen coming out of Trisha. I'm just kidding. Okay. All right, everybody. We'll be back next week. Most likely Wednesday.
Thanks for being here.
Peace.
Peace out.
Bye.